So I'm gonna give this a bit, and then we can kind of dive into stuff. But it seemed like a good day to kind of check in and show people what's changing in terms of New World and talk about some other games and kind of go through the whole spiel of kind of what people are looking at right now in terms of what they're playing. Uh, but we are gonna start today by looking at the New World stuff. I'll probably boot up New World as well, so that I could have that in the background and kind of show in-game stuff a little bit more as well. And I think we'll kind of go from there. But it's been a bit, not a ton has changed to be honest. But maybe that's a good thing. I take it my change for the stream title didn't really go through. Oh well, that's fine. Hey, Crush. Maybe do an OPR first before that? Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Something just silly to kill, like, 20-30 minutes, and we can hop into things. Excited to see your take on anything? Yeah, it'll be a little bit different, but I have not seen anything. I've not watched any videos. I am trying to do this thing where I go in fresh and kind of give my kind of live reaction because I think it's a little bit more fun that way. XOPRQ. I was gonna ask if you're on Valhalla Crush, but then I realized that's the only server left. Uh, Here's my non-spoiler opinion. Direction is much improved and content is still lacking. I mean, I don't know what mode AGS is in at this point. Like if I were to put my like brain inside of an AGS like corporate person and like think about where New World is and where it's going, I would probably say keep New World on life support, improve some tech, and just full development time into Lord of the Rings because New World's donezo. Like I don't think it's savable at this point, but they might still try to save it, despite that. So, it's not the worst map. I know that like a whole lot of passion came through, and they like it is not close between heaters and a whole lot of passion. It is not close at all. Uh, all right, Crush, are you in Windsward right now, or could you invite me? I'm on the miicrow with a 3. It is miicrow with a 3. This is the only character I have that has a ring that is not 625 gear score, or an earring that's not, because I was using teardrop for every single character, and this one actually got a better ring for wars, so. AGS court person, New World, what's that? That actually true though. It's like, we work on that game? It's like, I didn't know we worked on that game. This isn't Oblivion. I was hearing about Oblivion. I actually haven't like looked at it at all. For reference, I have been playing Throne a lot, and I've started going back into Albion for a very specific reason. But I know Oblivion's a game that people are playing right now. Throne is basically kind of like what New World was like maybe a year after like New World came out, and it's like it's dying, but it's not dead, and it's still very very popular. And then Albion's a game that's been out forever, is still pretty popular, and has been like absolutely crazy lately. But I'll go into that later. World by our New World database. I mean, it's still rotating the same 3 games. SLB, I am very complacent, and like you might not get this, but I played Hearthstone before I played World of Warcraft, and I played Hearthstone for like 12 years. And then after that, I played Overwatch, and I played Overwatch for like 6 or 7 years. I do not switch games very often. By the way, which server do you play? Valhalla, because the fresh ones are kind of boring. They're just not super competitive. Hearthstone saw that install, but I ain't played that in 3 years. Yeah, I guess the other game I'm also playing is the Bazaar, but I've been playing the Bazaar for a few months. That's just like one of the more fun, chill roguelikes. It's kind of like Hearthstone, but different. Like, it's not really like Hearthstone. It's like an auto battler to some extent, mixed with the card game. You kind of have to play it to like understand it or like watch it. But it's like a very very fun game because you get to basically do builds, compete against other players, and uh, you don't like there's no time constraints on the game, which is really really cool. So I could be playing the game like, and then I can walk away for half an hour, come back, and I can still play, but I'm still versus other players. So it's like a very different PvP oriented game. You'll 100% enjoy Wildgate, but you kind of need three friends for max enjoyment. Oh yeah, I mean that's Wildgate is that way. No, that's the best answer. Been away for like 6 months. Anything new or exciting in PvP? Oh no, that's the best answer. Yeah. So next season has a few changes. I think most people have been kind of away. It's actually really funny because AGS like rolled out like bans today for both Throne and Liberty and for New World. And there's some people that like haven't played New World in like months, and then they got permabanned on New World. It's just like it's like wait, what? It's like okay. It's like they finally came through. Remember when Reynad first started working on the Bazaar? Yeah, it's out now. I think the public opinion's a little bit mixed, and the people that are like against Reynad are honestly like kind of stupid. These people are basically saying that they didn't want to like pay to support like him and his team, and he was doing like a thing where it was they were releasing new cards. We had to pay $10 to get the new cards. It's like okay, it's $10 for new cards. Like who cares? Like it's to be honest, like that's so insignificant for a game that's free. What do people even do to get banned? There's some people. Well, so Throne and Liberty and New World are kind of tied, right? Because the publisher is AGS. Uh, for Throne and Liberty, they issued 3-day bans for people that were macroing because there was like an 80-hour grind that significantly boosted player power if you did it, but it was extremely boring. And honestly, it was terribly designed. But to get around that, what people did is they just basically made a stupid macro and they just killed mobs to farm the things. So they didn't have to do it like while they're in front of their computer. From a New World side and from a Throne Liberty side, I know there was a GeForce Now thing that got fixed with New World, but I don't know if it got fixed with Throne Liberty. Or if you use GeForce Now and you played on a different computer, like you streamed to a different device, they just permabanned you for some reason, but that supposedly got fixed. Uh, and then like I think generally it's just like bugs, exploits, like those kind of things, like generic. We're not going to give you a great reason why you're banned, but we're going to say you're banned because the more that they give, like the more that people can kind of combat it. Like they're always doing that game of like catch and mouse between like bots and whatnot. But my argument for the whole thing at this point is like I'm more of a fan of actually like having the publisher or the developer sell the in-game currency as something that you can buy, so you don't have to go directly to like G2G or something like that. And then it gives them like an incentive basically to penalize people that do that kind of thing. Like I'm more of a fan of that stance at this point. But we don't know exactly why people are getting banned. Bizarre goaded for real though. Yeah, it's a very it's a like I don't know of a single person that like tried the bazaar and like hated it so far, but it's definitely a kind of game where it's like if you're like into FPS stuff and MMOs, it might not be the game for you. But if you like card stuff, you like auto battlers, like it's a very solid game. And it's like fresh, and they're doing balance patches every 2 weeks, and they're adding in new stuff constantly. So it's just like it's in a very healthy spot for a game. Like their Discord's huge too. I could pull it up, but how many people are in their Discord now? I I I forget how you see numbers in Discord, but I believe there's like somewhere around like 40,000 people in their Discord. Like it's not a small game. Bizarre is an acquired taste that nearly everyone can get. Yeah. Star Trek Online PvP is deep and intricate, but PvP is a niche on a community there. And there's a lot of games like that. I mean, like if you want to get like a really into the PvP stuff, you're basically just looking at like Marvel Rivals right now, and like maybe Siege, Overwatch, uh, CS2. Like it's not a long list of games that are like considered to be like esport ready, so quote unquote, or like hyper competitive. But the games that are like semi competitive, like there's a good amount of them, and they're very fun. It's like Slay the Spire levels of Simply Good. Exactly. Yeah, that's a great comparison actually. I mean it's a roguelike kind of deck builder, but you're building cards that fight for you. So, but it is like if you like Slay the Spire, you'll probably like that game. If you like Battlegrounds and Hearthstone, you'll probably like that game. Uh One of my friends got banned from Sea of Thieves for a streaming issue. He was claiming a unique skin. What the heck? I'm here to I'm here to hear your opinion on the 6 band-aid they placed on Target Lock. Okay, so first impression of New World is that was a 7-minute OPR queue, and they're about to split the queue. So that's a good metric to know for later, because later we'll be talking about stuff, and I know they added in some new OPR things. So that like that's not like everybody, but like 7-minute queue in prime time. Here to see the good PvP is Coral Divide still up for test? This doesn't look like Coral Divide. Fuck, it's the old. I don't think I played Coral Divide this playthrough. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, I've been kind of busy with other games. In Albion, this was reset week, and my in-game lead that I played with a few months ago that I really liked, and honestly is the best shot caller I played with any game at this point, which is like kind of crazy for me to say. Uh, we decided that we're gonna try to push her rank 1, and it has been crazy. Like the grind level in that game is something I've never seen before in terms of PvP, and it's like actually ridiculous. There's literally 24/7 PvP in that Discord right now. Like when our main shot caller goes to bed, like an EU guy wakes up and he takes over and he does shot calling for the next like 10 to 12 hours, and then there's like one more that like rotates in as well. And there's like over like 300 to 500 people going to like all these things. It's like actually ridiculous. All because the guy that's been on top like for a very long time, like roughly the last year, everyone just finally said basically like fuck him, we're gonna try to kick him out. Because he started RMTing, he's making like roughly 30,000 to 40,000 dollars per month or something like that off the game. And people were like, nope, we're just gonna kick him out off the map. It's like very, very funny. So I didn't put health pots on bar or eat food, but actually I have health pots. I didn't put food on bar though, but I can still play this. Pop is bad because no content, plain and simple. Oh, for New World? I mean, yeah. It's still. I don't think there's a way of changing it. It's a seasonal game, right? So Like Albion, I was gone for 6 months, came back, and the game felt very, very different. And the game's been out for like 10 years. New World, I leave for 6 months, I come back, and it feels like I'm playing the same thing I played 2 years ago. It's like it's nothing against them. It's just like it's either like they're not focusing on things that I necessarily care about, or it's like development resources are just lacking in general. That color for the OPR circle is actually kind of different. It's like more vibrant than it used to be. New World is the only game I could play though where I don't even have to look at my monitor for like more than once every 15 seconds. I know I'll be fine because it's just so basic. Leave for 1 year and it's like he didn't even log on for the day. Dude, like even the gears, like that's the only thing that's different. Like the mounts are different right now. But like that's the only thing I noticed like right off the bat. But it's still like, tons of fire staffs. You see tons of great great axes. There's still PvEers, at least they're not building a wall. Like I don't know. So I'm gonna do a very old tech here. Crush, let him build it. I want him to build it, me stand on it, we start capping, and then we can flip it. I don't think he has parts, actually. So my team's out there fighting, like, probably one dude, but that's fine. Yeah, there's just one dude. Not gonna lie, it's kind of impressive. Yeah. If you're a fan of ZVZ, Albion's also number one. That's the thing. I never used to be a fan of ZVZ. I have started to become a fan of ZVZ. Like I'm a fan of like medium to large, and I think the main thing with Albion is like support is actually a concept. Like in New World, support's like a rough concept, but it's not like fully fledged out. By support, I mean somebody that doesn't heal but provides like offensive and defensive value that's not in the form of damage to your teammates, which is often in the forms of like buffs or debuffs. And like there are classes that do that in New World, like Void Gauntlet is like the definitive support class. Flail is basically a support class. SNS, the way I play it, is basically a support class, but it's like it's very one-dimensional. There's not a lot of variance. Like Albion has literally over hundreds of weapon combinations. Like it's and like there's maybe 15 of them that are like at least somewhat viable for a support player to play. And like if I ever show off like an Albion like comp roster, like in a comp of 20 to 40 people, there will be like maybe 10 to 15 specs played. In New World in a comp of like 50 people, there's like maybe 10. Like there's way more build diversity in Albion as well. Throne doesn't really have build diversity. It's like very hard driven metas. But I play a class that's not super popular but still good, so it's kind of fun. I don't know. They're all kind of different. They'll have different like tastes. I think New World's the best like in terms of like a casual experience though. Like there's no way I would ever start the MMO genre with Albion. Like that's just not the game you get into this with at all. It's way, way, way too involved. I think the first Dungeons and Dragons rulebook has more build diversity. Yeah, or at least in terms of like builds that people played, right? God. I haven't talked in a while and to other people, and my voice is already dry, and we're like less than 30 minutes into this. Oh no. It's been kind of nice though. Like I've definitely been like very laid back the last couple of months, but like what I kind of realized about myself is I'm definitely more of like a gamer than a streamer, if that makes sense. Like there's certain people that like will just advertise products to like gain revenue so that they can play games all day. Like if I do that, I will not feel good about myself, and I don't want to be a business person for a living. So it's been nice to just like chill, kind of play games and like have fun and not really think about too much. Time to get some tea. Dude, I'm about to grab a LaCroix. I am hard addicted to LaCroix now. It's bad. It doesn't help that. Oh, I don't know. My office, like my work where all the time, they provide us drinks and there's LaCroix in there, and I just got used to like drinking it because I've been too lazy to bring in bottled water because I just have it there, and it's got me in like really weird habits that are like different than what I used to do. I'm a big water fan now. One stream a decade, of course, man's already got a rusty voice. Yeah, basically. I do miss be like talking to you guys, so like that's the most fun part by a long shot. I don't really care as much about the other stuff, but it's nice to like check in on people, like see familiar faces. So Rapier's still trash, no new PvP modes, wars, or capture the flag, no guild system, and the same bugs. I haven't seen the full update. I've just heard snippets. I heard snippets about the capture the flag. Uh, I have well, that's basically it. Just like capture the flag. I know there's a few new artifacts and like, but that's basically all I've heard. But I haven't watched the video yet because it's usually more fun. Like we used to do this where I'd watch the stuff beforehand, but then when I'm going through it, I'm not explaining my thought process as much, so it's like less interesting for you guys. So I'm trying to go through it fresh. Aren't they adding like pots or something like that that give you grit? Like that would be kind of interesting. Like Albion's had that, and it's been really, really cool. Like they added a few new pots as well, but like there's a pot that gives you like temporarily a large amount of HP and like a grit or similar effect to grit, and it's like very, very popular for ZVZ. Grit pots, ugh. They might break the game, but it'll be at least interesting. I think we're at a point now where like healing isn't that good, but shirking heals is like still borderline a must-have for small scale stuff, unless you have a healer. Like this is mid to large scale. It's like kind of different than small scale, but oh, they redid the Baron UI and the Corrupted Portal UI too. Shaking my head. Albion already got X. miicrow just wants Albion or do Albion 2.0. I mean, I've said this before, right? Even when I wasn't playing the game, like I played Albion for like 3-4 months, right? We got like top 10 or something like that with my guild. Okay, I played like a month or two before that with a no-name guild because I wanted to see what it was like for a fresh player experience, and it was very, very different and honestly kind of interesting. Uh, and then after that, I basically leveraged connections and abused the fact that I was good at New World to get into like a top 10, top 20 company, and then we did well. Yeah, we're backing up. No one is here. I don't know where my team went. Oh, they probably went Baron, actually. Why is this dude naked? Oh, wait, is that the thing where you can transmog as a naked person? Isn't that a thing, though? That guy's dead. I'm sorry. It's been nice knowing you. Yeah, naked is OP. Why am I even going to Baron? I'm a freaking tank. What am I gonna do? I'm just gonna, like, sit here and LARP. Good to see that people still cannot hit people that walk around them in circles. Oh, I thought I got that there. Why not play and pause the dev talk? I heard streamers do that with other games. Like, as in, like, play the game and have the dead talk in the background, or as in, like,
Uh, you're gonna have to explain it to me a bit more because I'm unfamiliar. I know like if I were to do it between games or something like that, that would be an option. But then it's like it's not concise, and I want it to be somewhat concise so that I can crop it later to get a video. Which you can splice it together, but most YouTubers have like an editor and stuff like that, and I am honestly like beyond lazy at this point. It's not that I like don't mind editing, it's just like it's very inefficient time wise to edit, which I guess I don't know if that's lazy or just being efficient, but like if I just talk about stuff and then clip it and then put it on YouTube, that takes me like probably half the time to a third of the time it does if I were to splice it and edit it. And then I feel like the quality isn't that much better because I'm basically just a glorified podcaster at a certain point. Like, I don't know. You can use AI to make videos nowadays. That is true. That would probably make it a lot easier, and I wouldn't really have to worry about that stuff as much. But I'm also a boomer and haven't figured it out. I can enlist Crush to help me. But I have to pay Crush to be my AI editor. What's going on over here? It amazes me, like, the design of this class still. It's just like, I don't know how you look at this class and it's like, yeah, this is how tanks should be played. It's like, yeah, I'm purposely trying to not block damage. I feel like the other weird part about New World 2 is like, usually when you drop a game, when you come back and like the power level has progressed, people are like noticeably doing more damage and you're noticeably like less tanky and all these things. Like I honestly can't tell the difference between like the 725 character I have and like the 700 character I have. Like I still basically feel invincible. Like it probably matters more for DPS and stuff like that, but for me it's just like I don't feel it at all. Oh, goodbye, friend. I have been still warring. I just haven't been streaming the wars as much, because it's usually just like one war and then I'll get off. They aren't like terrible quality, but they're definitely not what they used to be. I'm not gonna lie. I think I just died here because I hit the wrong button. That was not supposed to be a vortex. That was supposed to be a barrage, and I am boomer. Oh no, I was dead there anyway. Never mind. It's completely red over there. Is it still some bearded guy that killed you? They haven't fixed that one yet? Huh. Their team is just backcapping. It's so boring. Yeah, I mean, they're trying. I don't know. You try Marvel Rivals? I haven't yet. I don't have like a hard thing against game. Well, okay, that's kind of a lie. I generally don't like playing games that give root level privileges. And Marvel Rivals is a game that gives root level privileges and is owned by a Chinese company. And both of those I don't generally love, and I love them even less when they're together. Um, so. Ooh, actually, I'm buying cleanse bots. I forgot they added that. Nom 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 nom. Need my cleanse. Wait, I did not put it in my inventory. I grabbed everything but the cleanse pot. No. Don't break the gate yet. I need my cleanse. Wait. Okay, I'm happy now. That's what I meant to do earlier. You think they fixed this spot? No. You don't know. It's still New World. Okay, I have no idea where my team is, but I'm gonna like walk this way and pretend we're doing something. I do like to have a healer. I don't need a healer, but I like to be around a healer as a tank. It makes my life a lot easier. Crush, what do you think about JD Vance assassinating the Pope? Wait, no, there was another person after Vance that met him actually. I think it was King Charles was the last like public official that met him. So maybe it was King Charles that assassinated the Pope. I mean, I'm a proud person. Does not care. Crush is like, eh. Chinese company is, in my opinion, my priority dislike. They're breaking 100 laws with the terms of service, but I guess it's okay if the game is good. Yeah, it's kind of where I land on it. It's like there's a lot of other good games too, but no, that game is particularly well done. It's just I'm always gonna favor like Overwatch over it just because of that. He had it animated at the church though. That is true. I didn't see his anime robe like before today. Like that was sick actually. Like the one he got in Japan. Like that actually looked really cool. I won't lie. Crush, you're supposed to kill everybody. Not just like LARP and oh, I guess Void Boyd's actually a weapon now, isn't it? Wait. You just go Crush go. Guys, Crush might be dead soon. Saving Private Crush. Dude had the best PR marketing team of all of history. Nah, that's a lie. That's definitely a lie. But he had a good one. I'll give him that. Have you tried BDO? I haven't. There are a few people that were trying to get me into it though. There's people that have like quit Throne of Liberty recently that I like to play with, and they're playing BDO now. But I'm still on that Throne arc. I know ESO is a game that a lot of New World players have gone to, but BDO is like the one that more the MMO PvP side is like leaned a little bit towards, if that makes sense. Like they're like kind of different genres, but like for PvP MMOs, I don't see how an MMO can be better than Albion in terms of a PvP MMO. Like I just can't see it. There's some people that don't call Albion an MMO though, but I don't know. Like to me, that is like the PvP MMO. Like it's in a different class. Perp and Sape play a bunch of BDO. I think even Ripidie. Hmm. If Sape plays it, I might try it. I watched some gameplay of it, and it looked like there were a lot of numbers flying across the screen at all times. I didn't really know what to think about that, but it was like a first impression. State of New World, thinking about getting back into it. I kind of wanted to go over that, but I was gonna go over after OPR, just so I can get some people in here. And then I might do a gauntlet of games. I know at one point I'm gonna have a throne large scale conflict, which will be something. I don't know if it will be super fun or not. And then after that, I kind of want to just do some Albion like stuff. Honestly, I'd rather probably do the Albion stuff a little bit sooner rather than later, but uh, because I think that game's more fun than Throne right now. But Throne isn't in a bad spot. They have unlimited melee. We have like two. Yep. I feel like in games with healing, this is just a general statement that's not completely true, but in like medium to large scale games with healing, I feel like melee is almost always better than range because melee just dictates tempo and range just sits there and does shooty things. Like as a melee, you take space and you prevent range from holding that space in which they needed to play. It's like it's hard to get like if range gets set up well, range can get value, but range is like super conditional to get value. Shrapnel already even worth it? I'm thinking about running it back, but I don't know. Like pestilence? Like the blunderbuss artifact? Oh, that would have been a kill. So we started winning a fight, and I was like, "Oh, cool, we're winning a fight," and then we lost Barry. uh, what do you guys think of the new OPR map compared to this one? Does this work? Can I keep aggro and just sit up here? Like it does. Huh. All right. I think this OPR is basically Jover. This musket player is shooting me and he doesn't even do damage to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna make this guy run in a circle though, just because I feel like it. He's faster than me at running in a circle. He's catching up. Can we get some game sound? Wait, I didn't have the game sound on this whole time? You guys need to yell at me quicker for that one. Wait, no, it's on New World. Oh, I think it's just because I have the sound down low. Oh, God. That was loud. I'm turning it down a little bit. Wait, no, it's not picking up the sound. Why does it say... Wait, is it? 1 second. Wait, it's not picking up the sound? What is going on? Oh. So I'm clicking on the sources for like the audio stuff. It's snapped to the New World launcher as a separate source than New World for some reason. Okay. I'm gonna turn it back down where it was, but now you guys have sound. Oops. Does the YouTube side have sound now? Because I see it's coming through on the Twitch at least. Works now? Okay. I did happen to break half the music stuff I had on here because I needed to free up storage, and in the process of freeing up storage, I just deleted a bunch of random files I had, and turns out I saved half my overlay stuff in my downloads folder because I was really stupid. So that's partially broken, but I'll worry about that a different day. Do you guys like the new OPR map for the people that played it? Like, was it significantly better? Because I played it the first time for like a day for like 6-ish hours, and it felt better, but it didn't feel like something that I play 24/7, if that makes sense. Imagine not having 10 terabytes of storage. Well, I do, but they're on different drives. Well, I don't have 10 terabytes. I have like 2 or 3. And then I needed more storage on like one of my drives because that's where I was doing like a bunch of like coding related projects, and it just turned into a whole mess. All right. Wash tank play. Oh, it has KDA now? Oh, that's cool. This is how you know I haven't played the game much recently. There's probably a bunch of stuff that I'm gonna discover and be like, oh, that's kind of neat. Um, People have been wanting that one for a while. So if I look the other way, is this the worst KDA? Or is this like the most deaths? Huh, how does this sort the other way? Because, like, this guy had 8 deaths, right? But, and like, only had 20 assists, had 6 kills, but then this guy's lower on the side? I don't understand how this sorting mechanism works. I think it's broken. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense completely. Like, I was thinking that they might have, like, some weighting mechanism to it, but yeah, it doesn't even work. I want to see how I got. No, my bad. All right. So let me grab a little bit of water real quick, and then we can start hitting in. Okay, I just thought of something on my way to get another sparkling water that I'm addicted to. I feel like it would be better to not go over the dev content first, and instead look at the like kind of the state of the game first in context of when this dev thing is coming out, and then like kind of see how that plays into it. You think we'll see pickup wars in season 9? Dude, I haven't even seen the season 8 stuff. You're ahead of me. But okay, so let me see if I can get browser audio set up. Okay, browser audio set up, so you should be able to hear everything when I get into stuff. So the first thing I guess to talk about here is we have season 8 launching for New World. Seasons are supposed to last 3 months. They tend to not really last 3 months in New World, but they go around that time. And season 8, from a high level, seemed to be relatively PvE focused with kind of minor PvE changes. New World as a whole right now, isn't in a wonderful spot by any sense of the imagination, but it's about where it normally is. Like I've said this in the past, and it still kind of continues to be where New World is a very seasonal game where people come back to it about once per year. It'll peak. AGS will make some money off of new content, and then it will kind of fall off. There won't be a lot of content released, and then it will peak, and then it will fall off, and then it will peak. But it tends to peak around roughly at the same time, like every time an expansion drops, like every time once per year. The last peak we had around 60,000 players. The peak before that had around 80,000. This is just on Steam. We also added in console as well, so there should be a lot more console players. Hopefully that kind of make up for, honestly, the loss of dev time for the last year. But currently on PC, if we look at like a good weekend or something like that, like if we look like maybe over here, so we're like what, 8,500 playing concurrently. So more likely it's probably around like 20-30,000 people playing the game on Steam. Probably like another 20-30,000 I'm guessing on console, maybe even more than that because it's a little bit more fresh to them. But there hasn't been content since the console stuff came out, and even that wasn't really much content from the PC player base, to be honest. So I think the general state is that people kind of moved on and started exploring other games. For reference, a game I've been playing mostly recently has been Throne, which has also been down, but is still sitting at like there's 20,000 people that played an hour ago on Steam. Like there's still 30,000 people playing in the last 24 hours, and that's a weekday, right? So like if I were to look at Throne on a good weekend, we're at like what, 40,000 players playing at the same time. So you expect like probably 80 to 100,000 people playing it right now. And this game is like, I think, generally considered to be dying, and it's in a very healthy spot compared to where New World is, but it's not exactly comparable because this game has came out recently. There was a new content expansion that came out recently, and it's like generally everything is a little bit more fresh for Throne. And then the other game I've been playing a lot recently has been Albion, which has just been out for forever. There's this Albion Steam, there's an Albion Mobile, and then there's an Albion client itself, which won't be tracked. But Albion in general is very high pop. I know this isn't really accurate because I had a war a few days ago, which was the like big alliance versus big alliance kind of thing is like what I mean by this. And there were over 1,000 people participating in that alone, and that's just like elite end game level PvP players. So there's a lot more to that in this game, and that was crazy, and that was happening like on reset day. So that was like one of these like probably 14k peak days, but there's a lot going on there. So it's like New World in general compared to other MMOs. Like if I compare it to Albion, it's not holding on to people nearly as long. Albion's been out for like 10 or 11 years, something like that. Like I think it came out in 2014. If I look at Throne's been out more recently and has taken a lot of like the New World market share. I know a good amount of people here were talking about New World players moved to BDO. So like basically New World's not in a wonderful spot, right? Like people are looking for a reason to get back into the game. And that's kind of the context in which we kind of approach this update. Should I start with the dev video first, or should I start with the notes first? Do you guys have an opinion on that? Because I haven't seen either, because I think it would be better for me to look at this fresh. No opinions? Alright, I'm video, probably. Notes. Alright, now you guys are in two different spots. Maybe let me do notes real quick, because the notes will probably be... Or let's at least do roadmap. The video is long. Okay, so we probably do want to start with notes then. Or at least a high level the notes, see the context, and go into the video. We could at least look at the roadmap at the beginning here. So next season, season 8, we got an OPR map that's coming out. We have a preview of Capture the Flag. We have a preview of a new 3v3 map. We have a bare bones OPR, which I believe is just OPR with no perks, so it's just like flat power level. So it might be easier for them to balance. It might be easier for people to kind of get into with. There is a seasonal world coming out. There's the barbershop coming out, which was supposed to come out a while ago, but finally it's coming out, which is good. Expeditions Unleashed. I don't know what that is yet. Combat and PvP updates, artifacts, perks, and seasonal events. So there's a good amount of PvP content in theory, not as much PvE content. Here are the notes if you need a link. I've got it right here. But good to know. In development, we got new zone. Well, let's talk about season 8 first. So it's like the immediate thing is like, do I come back? Like the immediate thought for me is, there's probably not like enough content here to necessarily bring people back, but this will definitely keep people playing. And I think this on top of an expansion would be a good reason to like give the game another shot. But it's like if you were to give the game a shot with this amount of content, like it would probably last you maybe a week or two if I had to guess. Unless you're like a really, really hardcore like OPR player. Like it doesn't seem super significant enough, but maybe it lays like some groundwork that can be used further on. It's good that they finally got to a new OPR map and they're starting to explore other stuff. But to be honest, the game was originally came out as a PvP oriented game, immediately pivoted to be a PvE oriented game, and in the sense that they're prioritizing like PvE content over PvP content, and like the fact that the OPR map comes out like 3 years later is like wild, especially because most of the PvP player base has moved on. But it's good that they've actually finally done that, I suppose. In development, seasonal server is PvE. Gotcha. So there's some form of PvE then, at least. In development-wise, we got a new zone, new raids, a new weapon. Okay. Raid difficulties. So kind of like expeditions, I imagine. OPR map 3, good. That's something I kind of want to see. Procedural expedition mode with extraction. That will be kind of interesting. That's actually an interesting thing that New World actually probably could do well. Now that I think about it, considering it had like the survival's roots. New PvP mode, pickup wars, endgame progression systems overhaul, Umbral V2, set bonuses, new heart rune zone up level, endgame reputation systems, customable HUD, attributes saved with gear slots, and global storage. So like of this, like basically the PvE content is raids that's going to be coming out. And then there's a good amount of PvP content that's also coming on top of that. In development is equals expansion, in my opinion. I think it will be along those lines, or it might come out next season. If next season's not the expansion, like some of that might come out then. The biggest thing that New World needs to execute on here is just the raids, in my opinion. Like the other stuff is very helpful, and I think it'll be good for laying a foundation, but in terms of like actually getting people to continue to play the game, like when you think of an MMO, like raids tend to go with the MMO, and if it's not there, it's just like a very, very casual experience, which is kind of where New World is right now. It's just a super casual MMO, and that's perfectly fine, but it still kind of needs to prove the fact that it has some of those capabilities, and I think the raid will be a good spot for that. Umbral's V2 are a very, very welcome thing. New heart runes are a very, very welcome thing. And then like I think all of these other options like just kind of need to be there, but these are kind of like the expectations nowadays. Like pickup wars has been a thing in Throne of Liberty. It's been fantastic, and it's one of the reasons why people like that game so much. Customable HUD's been in Throne of Liberty, and it's fantastic. Customable HUD got moved to Albion in the last 6 months. Between the last 6 months, I stopped playing and then played again. And that's been crazy impactful and is very, very nice and fixes a lot of the fundamental problems with large-scale PvP in that game. Because there was a problem where you can't see people coming to attack you, and now you can move the pieces that were in the way before. So that's been very, very helpful as well. It seems like they're heading in a good direction. It's just, like, this is, like, kind of adding content after people gave the game another shot with the console stuff. I think people will come back to try the raids, so like I think that's enough of a thing where people will probably give it a go. It's just like there has to be enough content for people to actually stay again. And exploration, we have more weapons, ranked PvP, new raids, company hall with storage, new zones, invasion mode with difficulties, new seasonal worlds, gardening, farming, territory system overhaul, new exploration/collection systems, influence tower, claim, siege system with building, zone up levels, account-wide progression, all instance content available in matchmaking, and new travel mechanics. So, maybe ships? 2 years too late? I mean, that will be the common theme for all this. This will be a very interesting game to study from like a developmental cycle perspective, but in terms of like what they have now and how they could actually progress the game, I think this makes sense. The main thing that they lacked, right, in terms of New World as a whole, was renewable content, and the stuff that's coming out is a combination of content and renewable content, right? Like if you introduce raids and then you introduce raid difficulties, okay, now I have my content, which is the raid, and I have my renewable content, which is the raid difficulty, and like OPR maps, like PvP in general is just always renewable content because metas can constantly evolve as long as you balance things at some point. And that will just be a very easy way to create progression. The caveat there is they actually need to balance things, and I'd argue New World hasn't really balanced things super well in the last year. There hasn't really been a patch that's like shaking up the meta maybe in a year and a half to 2 years, which it is what it is, but it's not like the spot where I think PvP needs to be. So that will be interesting. Pickup wars saves New World. I think that actually is like one of the biggest things that could help New World for sure. Like the main issue that's happened recently is with a lack of players to keep merging the servers, right? And as you merge the servers, there's less and less war slots, and war slots will always favor the people that have played in wars before, which will take away from new players and add towards experienced players/war loggers, and that inherently gets fixed by pickup wars. So pickup wars is a fantastic system, and that honestly is arguably a thing I can explain the game, or save the game. Can you explain pickup war? I can. would this be better to show in terms of what it is in Throne and Liberty and then explain like what it does, or do you want me to just like explain it verbally? Because I could do it either way. Um, let me boot up Throne and Liberty real quick, and then I can explain it in terms of the context of what I'm familiar with. Because I think it would be good to have a visual instead of just like talking about the entire time. Last time they did something that changed meta, Grit changed Bruisers, cried till it came back. I feel like the meta changed when Firestaff became OP. Like there was a while where Firestaff was considered to not be good, and it's been OP ever since the Firestaff rework. Like Bruisers definitely have been strong in wars, but like I don't think Bruisers meta like everywhere. It's just like the war meta has been very stagnant. The OPR meta I'm less familiar with, but I think it's gotten a little bit more ratty. Like a lot more like kind of individually minded builds. But I will show off the thing. And hopefully not get dragged into some Throne of Liberty content right away. Which I think I'll be okay for at least another hour, so we should be able to get through everything. So let's show pickup wars, right? So what pickup wars in Throne of Liberty are called are war games. And with war games in Throne of Liberty, you have a combination of public and private war games. You can join any public war game you want. In private ones, you have to enter in a passcode to join. So you can basically practice versus people that you want to practice with and like set up like scrim, so to speak. Or you can just join a public one just to get experience overall. I feel like a system like this is just generally helpful. You can create a new game. Like this is like whatever type of like conflict thing it is. You could choose where that happens. I could choose like Windsward. I could choose Everfall. You could choose like the time. Like all this stuff is like helpful. But the primary thing is that you have a public game that anyone can join. You have a private game that people can join specifically if they want to practice. And then from there, you just can get reps in, right? And if you can get reps in for war and you aren't just warring once a month or something like that, then you could actually consistently get better. So are you not even reading the notes, or is this connected? This is connected. This is connected to the pickup war. So I was just explaining like in context of Throne of Liberty what a pickup war is and like what it could do for New World. So it's basically just the idea that you can practice with wars with your company versus other companies, and you're not just dependent upon owning a territory and whatnot. I imagine Pickup War to be like Av and Old WoW. I did not play Old WoW, but I feel like this will just be helpful no matter what. Okay, I'm gonna get off Throne of Liberty enough for now though. But that's like in general what I think of when I think of Pickup Wars is like a system like that, which is just really really nice. It also gives the large companies infinite content. Exactly. So it's like, say Supple and Dropouts came back. Supple could fight Dropouts every day if they wanted to. Like, honestly, Supple and Dropouts didn't really care about the territories as much. It was more about just the ability to like play versus each other consistently. It was really, really fun. Real tinfoil here. I think Firestaff rework was the last trace of experienced devs left because they quit / relocated / left New World, and the content implementation's been all over the place since the last patch. Like, it's like all the interns and junior devs. I think there's evidence that a lot of people got moved. They could do some snooping through LinkedIn and see if people are still working at AGS, and if they are still working at AGS, I'm guessing they got moved to Lord of the Rings. But that will be a thing we talk about in the video. Is Dave still working on New World? That's one thing I wanted to talk about there. So in terms of notes for this next season, which have kind of been bouncing to future content, but let's focus on the current content for a little bit. We have Capture the Flag preview. Capture the Flag is a new PvP mode coming to New World Eternum that players will have a chance to test during Season 8. This exciting new mode pits 2 teams of 10 players against each other in a fast-paced fight to control the team's flag. Score as many captures as you can in a limited time to win. Power-ups with jump packs and in this mode make it feel more competitive and unlike any other PvP mode in the game. We look forward to sharing all the details about this new mode before our test event, so stay tuned. The main thing, I mean, this is definitely going to be interesting. It's just like, how does movement get balanced, right? How does, like, there's a lot of intricacies with it. How does, and like how many players it will be, and what the power ups are, what they do. But uh, I think new modes are a good thing. The part that worries me is that if you guys watched earlier in the stream, I had a 7-minute queue for OPR. If I introduce capture the flag and I have an OPR queue or a capture the flag queue or a 3v3 queue, I can guarantee that 7-minute queue, if the player pop remains the same, is going to go up to like 10, 13 minutes. And then on top of this, there's another mode that's coming out, which is like OPR, but you basically have no gear perks. So it's like they're splitting the queue heavily, which is always worrisome. So it's just like, if the queue doesn't pop consistently, then people might not want to play because there's a long queue. I think that's one of the reasons why I stopped playing Overwatch a lot, is because I got to high enough rank where my queues are like 15 to 20 minutes. It was just like not fun at that point. But having competitive games sometimes is also more fun than, having a long queue. Like, you'd rather take the competitive game, so it kind of works both ways. Outpost Rush, Bare Bones. This is the other mode. Bare Bones is a new spin on OPR that attempts to level the playing field completely. In this version, all gear perks are disabled. Everyone is bumped up to max gear score. If you feel like your gear isn't good enough for PvP, or you want to prove that you're better than your gear, join us. Okay. So more skill based, favors towards the action content will generally be more balanced. Less customizability with your build. Definitely sounds like a good thing for like newer players. I just don't know how often this queue will pop. And then they're adding another 3v3 map. It's going to take place in an ancient temple grove. All right. So now we have 3v3 maps. Expeditions Unleashed world bosses take on colossal threats during limited time open world events featuring iconic enemies from Expeditions. Players can rally together to defeat level 70 bosses for up leveled loot. So gear score 715 to 725. So this has the potential to give you endgame level loot. Each event grants one guaranteed 725 gear score item and multiple 710 items. Okay, so that actually is a good source of loot. This unironically might be a better source of loot than M3s, from my understanding. Which I don't know how I feel about that if it's an open world boss, but like you would think that M3 would get better loot than an open world boss, but I guess we'll see how that plays out. Looking forward to the bosses. Mammoth. Well, a mammoth. Okay, so it's the lightning one that you fight. The Scarab boss Kefri. Fire Naga Ifrit, which is this one right here, making appearances in Season 8. So there's 3 bosses so far. Fight them in open world, get good gear, good loot. This seems like a nice thing to add. I imagine it's somewhere between, a dungeon and a chest run in terms of difficulty, so not very challenging, but I do like how these feel on Thrones. I'm excited to see where this goes. We got the barbershop, finally. So if you made an ugly looking character, you could finally make it pretty. If you made a pretty looking character, you can make it ugly, or you can do whatever you want in between. I wonder how many people use this for like RPing and stuff like that. But so that's finally added. This is good. This was kind of leaked like probably close to a year or two ago, but it's good that it's finally making it into the game. Should be similar to Transmog in the sense that there's a lot of customizability with it, and kind of unlocks a new kind of end game system there. Are odd that they aren't releasing name changes. Yeah, you would think that would come with it, right? Like, you would think you'd be able to change your name. You think you'd be able to change how you look. You think you'd be able to change your how your gear looks as well, but alas, they aren't there yet. We got the seasonal events and bonuses. Springtime Bloom. Oh, okay. All these are just like the same ones that have been there before. Season pass rewards, some new skins. Free track includes some artifacts. I think we just get into the artifacts now. Unless anyone has anything you want to talk about for the other stuff, but I don't think we really have that much to talk about in terms of the artifacts. I imagine pickup board. No, I already read that one. But it seems like there's okay amount of content for next season. Biggest worry is splitting the queue, and I don't know if it's enough to bring people back necessarily. But it's in the right trajectory, I guess. New artifacts. You got the old crown, which is a headpiece. Don't know if it is a medium or heavy headpiece, but we know that that there are 2 artifacts per gear type, so there'd be 2 light helms, then 2 medium helms, then 2 heavy helms before they introduce a third light helm. So we know it's medium or heavy, and it gives plus 10 to all attributes. Comes with a bonus gem functionality. That means that you could have like 2 gems that can go any way that you want. I imagine this will be borderline broken in the sense that it's always really, really nice to have extra gems because they give ABS. But at the same time, like, an extra 2.5% to like all elemental isn't like a make or break. So, but it sounds like it could be competitive. I'm still in the same stance that I was like a year or 2 ago, where generic artifacts that just give general power boosts tend to be really OP in this game. So like featherweight, tumbler, which just both those like basically work in all the builds that you want. Void dark plate, like those 3 artifacts can basically work for 90% of builds in the game. You don't even have to think about changing anything. But in PvE, it usually gets a little bit more optimized, and this is one that could be better there. And depending on what the gem functionality it is, it could be viable in PvP. Relentless Tower Shield, Team Armor, Aura, and Enhanced Healing. This will be interesting. You found your new toy? Yeah. Depending on how it's implemented, it could be meta breaking. There's definitely an argument that SNS is already good enough and you don't need more defensiveness on that class because it's already hella OP. Like 30% ABS as an aura is like beyond broken, beyond what anything I've ever seen in any other game in terms of tank power. Like it's just straight up hold right click and you mitigate like effectively roughly 40% of incoming damage to everyone around you, which is ridiculous. But maybe this is a way to even enhance that further. Or maybe this is a way to kind of create more team-oriented builds where you have someone that's like super, super squishy and you have someone else that, you know, gives them armor of some kind, and that plays out into some sort of like thing where you can optimize for like small scale content as well. So you have like someone that's super, super squishy. The instant thing that this reminds me of is like the flail ultimate that never really took off, where you take damage for other people effectively. The problem with that one was that it used their absorption status, so taking damage from them when they were super squishy basically just nuked all the heavy people because you didn't really get the benefit of being heavy. But this might be a way that will take off a little bit more. It being a tower shield means that you have to use it on SNS, means you have to use it on flail. If you don't have a shield out, you won't get the aura, so you could trigger this, you could turn it on, you could turn it off in theory. All right, I guess even with those, you could put your weapon away and it would get rid of it, but that might create a dynamic as well. You'd be forced to put a ward perk instead of sturdy fort, for instance. It makes me wonder if Palisade is just better. Because you can't use it with Void Dark Plate. It's less broken because you can't use it with Dark Plate. Yeah, but your teammate could have Dark Plate, and then you could have this, right, is the idea. The other thing that like comes to mind when I think of this, but you would think that this would be balanced, is if it's a really strong effect. Like Albion has this armor piece called Demon Armor, and what it does is it makes you less tanky, but it makes people around you more tanky, and it also reflects damage that's incoming to other people back at the attacker. So it's basically really good if you're getting like attacked by a bunch of people that are really squishy and are trying to like one-shot you, and you can just one-shot them back, but in return to become super, super squishy. And a trick with that is you use it in pairs so that the other person gives the same effect to you and you become less squishy and you still reflect damage back. So that's something to look out for here as well. Vampiric Vestments, a light chest, lifesteal, and mana synergy. You can't really read into that very much. It's too vague. Wit, a sword, increased threat and damage mitigation on crits. So threat is PvE, damage mitigation on crits. So I guess if you backstab, you gain damage mitigation. Like this is a PvE sword clearly if it's based off a threat, but it's just like it seems kind of weird. And I don't think it's like really necessary. Like I don't think a lot of PvE people would prioritize that sword over other weapons, but maybe they'll be used. Chaos as a blunderbuss launches enemies with fiery blast shots. Huh? Yeah, I don't even know how you read into that with that description. But launching people's fun. Maybe we'll talk about it more in the dev video. Runic Greaves, heavy feet, speed boost after using heart runes. Okay, that's not going to get used at all. Like, it's way too conditional. Lich gloves, light hands, and power stacking with ability usage. If it only if it's like the artifact that it's like you gain power until you use your next ability or something like that, it's going to be utterly worthless. But if it's just like generic power as you use abilities with like a cooldown, it could actually be used. Lich gloves, dear God, that sounds bad. Yeah, I don't know. Like most of these sound like the age old like, hey, we released like 8 new artifacts, but only 1 to 2 of these are viable. Like I wouldn't really like read into these very much. Tech enhancements, improved performance and visuals for NVIDIA GPUs. There's a setting that Throne of Liberty has where if you have over a 40 series GPU, you can enable it, and it basically just straight up doubles your frame rate. It could be that, but I don't know for sure. The reason why I lean on that is because AGS is the publisher, right? And they're connected. God, I am losing my voice. And so it's something that could be ported over. Lich gloves could be good for musket and for fire staffs. Yeah. Empower stacking with ability usage. Yeah, it could be good for those. It's just like, do you want empower stacking or do you want like flat power, right? Like maybe you just want straight stats. Maybe you want to use the medium pants. Maybe you want to use old crown. Like it's just like conditional off of that, but it could be good. Combat and quality of life updates. PvP camps, open world PvP is getting upgraded. Flag players for PvP will now be able to place or bind with faction only destructible camps. Can they bind to non-faction camps? If they can't, then this is really cool. Hunt down and destroy enemy faction camps. Yeah, this is really fun. This is just good. This is just solid. Now you don't have like the stupid fights where you're just fighting around a tent where people keep respawning. Like dying actually matters. It's not just like a random kill fest in the middle of nowhere. Ready up, start PvP matches when enough players opt in. Alright. Spectator cam, watch the battle after death and select game modes. Alright. I'd be sick with the new influence rework, better rewards plus no missions. Yep. Burst regen pots. A small burst of healing followed by a passive regen for a duration. So it's like a health and a regen. Okay, so if it could proc, like if it has a shorter cooldown, it could proc like the bonuses that you gain from earrings, then I could see it being good. But generally when I need HP, I want a lot of HP. I don't want to like a little bit. So like I'd prefer to get like a big chunk of HP and not just like a small amount at a time and have to spam the button. Plus, I imagine these will cost more than a standard health pot does. And don't feel like spending that much on health pots. Lich gloves with spear. Oh, the ones that give you ability damage. I mean, it just depends how the perks play out. I would need to see the perks, but immediate thought with spear is that doesn't really make sense because Tumbler is way too good because spear doesn't have empower and Tumbler solves all your problems. Health shot potion, similar to a health potion, but provides less healing, but could be used more often. So these are like in a similar vein where it's like you could use it more so you could proc those special perks, but it might not be as powerful. Shield potion grants damage reduction for 3 hits taken. Okay, useless. Go next. Grit potion grants the uninterruptible effect for the duration, so it just gives you grit. If this is like 3 seconds of grit, might be used still. Honestly, like it still could be used if it's like 3 seconds. If it's like 5 seconds, it's probably just the pot that people will try to use the most. And if it's anything longer than that, it's broken. Grit is like probably the most powerful effect in the game, and getting grit for a certain period of time, like unconditionally, is just like super, super, super strong. You could use it to get away from people. You could use it to attack people and not be interrupted in general, unless you're getting hit by a stun. It's just really, really strong. For tanks, this basically becomes a must-have immediately, and then your stone form slot gets technically freed up to use other things because the purpose of stone form was to give grit, or you could just run both and not really have to worry about anything. Grit potion equals pocket hatchet. Yeah, it basically is. I mean, it might make other stuff like more viable because that was the main advantage of the hatchet with Berserk, but Berserk was trippable. I don't know if the grit potion will be or not. I bet Grit Potion will use a Cleanse Pot cooldown, which will make it trash lol. Yeah, if it does that, it won't be usable. But Cleanse Pot still would be better, but it's good. Lifesteal Potion increases the power of all lifesteal artifacts. Are lifesteal effects? Is lifesteal even like used right now? Like the main advantage of lifesteal was it wasn't nerfed when all the healing stuff got nerfed, but I don't think it's technically used. Like often, if at all. So this seems niche to me, but maybe that's thought of super niche builds. Yeah, it's not. Okay, so like it's a maybe, but like at the same time, would you rather have more lifesteal or would you rather just like heal yourself? Like the one spot where I could see a lifesteal potion being really good is like, you know how lifesteal has an activation cooldown, so like it doesn't work off of AoEs. If this works off of AoEs, I could see it being viable, but that would be about it. Target lock updates. We reduced the amount of aim assist you receive when locked on an enemy player. So they're nerfing it then. Target lock now breaks when your target moves behind the camera. Nice. That was like one of the most OP parts about it. Target lock also breaks when entering aim down sights. Okay, so you have to be zoomed out. So if you actually want to do precise shots, it makes more sense to not use it. The most OP part about target lock is just pillar of fire, in my opinion, because it aims the pillar of fire directly in the center on a chosen target, so you literally cannot miss the pillar of fire no matter what, which is one of the reasons why fire staff is so OP right now. It'll be interesting to see if it tackles that at all. It sounds like this will probably tackle most of the BB problems if it doesn't work while you ADS. I'd be curious to see if they undo the BB nerfs or if they just like leave BB in another nerf state, because they tend to just leave BB in a more and more nerf state as time goes on. But we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, target lock was a mistake, and it should have been aim assist off the beginning. And it sounds like they're starting to move towards aim assist. It's just I don't know how they didn't read the room and do that right in the first place. But good on them for finally doing it, I suppose. Is it time to return to Eternum? It doesn't. It looks like actually a pretty good update from a PvP side. I would return if I had this. If I had Pickup Wars, I'd say 100%. Without that, you could. I just wouldn't expect the content to last more than like 2 to 3 weeks. Like it wouldn't be a bad spot to like check in on the game, but it's just like I don't see this season captivating people for like 3 to 4 months, if that makes sense. Unfortunately, 2 to 3 weeks is most games now. Nothing lasts anymore. Man, I'm weird then because I play games for years at a time. Like the last couple weeks, last couple months has been weird for me because I've been playing games for like 2 or 3 months. ADD generation, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it won't cater to the ADD people, but like it's more stuff. I would just like, I'd say if you come back like a season later and you have all of this on top of the next season stuff, like you're more likely to be happier. All right. I think it's time to start getting into the dev video, which this looks sick, by the way.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the April Dev Update. My name is Katie.
Is this loud or is this not loud? Like, is this good or do I need to make it louder? Volume wise. It's fine? Okay.
And I'll be running us through our new season and all the exciting stuff we have to bring you. Here with me today, I have JR.
Where's Scott? If I had to guess, Scott is working on Lord of the Rings now, or he's not at this company. If you wanted to figure out where Scott is, go to LinkedIn, see if he's still working for AGS or not. If he's working for LinkedIn, he probably got moved to Lord of the Rings. I don't see Dave here either, and he would be another guy I would generally look for as well.
Dan, Tracy, Joel, and Chad. And today we're going to be talking about mainly Season of the Divide.
This isn't everyone though, right? It's not like they have 6 devs. They just have like a smaller amount of devs here.
So let's kick things off. We have
I don't have a
We're kicking the
LinkedIn.
season off actually with Coral
Like
Divide.
LinkedIn's the new
which
Facebook. You'll need to
players
have a
just
LinkedIn at one
finished
point.
playing in live and helping us test out.
Yeah, it's almost like we named the season after the map.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, so players have been playing Coral Divide. That we did a preview in February, and then we just
Whoa. What? Why is it so blurry?
finished up the preview
This isn't 1080p.
in April. So yeah, starting in season 8,
Oh.
the map's going to be fully out, fully released, and we're actually
I lost my
the plan is
pixels.
to run that map for a period of time before we start like a rotation with the old map.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right, nice.
definitely look forward to that. Look forward to having full access to the map come season.
General thoughts on that map from everyone I've heard is it's significantly better than the old map. There's still some tweaks that could, like, there's still some things that could make it better, but it is by far the better of the 2 maps in terms of the game balance. So I think this is generally a good thing. Motion movement blur? Dude, I hope not. It just made me dizzy.
Yeah, that's great info. I know that players are looking forward to having that new OPR map being playable
Also,
every
I
day.
might 1.5
So that's
this.
great. We
Or
also
1.25
have
at
at the start
least.
of the season one of our seasonal events, Springtide Bloom, and we have the return of other seasonal events. Joel, if you want to.
Yeah, so Springtide Bloom is going to have upgraded patterns with higher gear score. Springen is also going to have upgraded loot, so it's going to be much more meaningful. There will be above gear score 700 loot for players to get to kind of feel like they can catch up and participate in some of our pinnacle.
You think that's
and content
probably
in those,
meaning
so we look forward
710.
to bringing
Like,
that
not
back out,
this, but
for some
good.
of the players. I don't believe console players have actually experienced Springtide either.
Yeah, this is the return of those events for PC players and the first time that our console players will be experiencing these events. So it's super exciting. And then along those same lines where we have these in-game world events, we have something new with this next season, which we're calling Expeditions Unleashed. Chad.
Yeah, so Expeditions Unleashed is a selection of expedition bosses that we've taken, leveled them up, scaled them up, and basically injected them into the open world. So lots of players can show up together, 10, 20, 30, however many more, and fight them in huge numbers.
By the way, I downplayed this earlier. This is actually like, it's really fun to have these like open world bosses. The spot where this even gets more fun for me personally is if PvP is enabled while you're fighting the boss. But I don't think it's going to happen in New World. I think that's more of a different game kind of vibe.
We've adjusted their abilities to make them more appropriate for the open world and for lots of fighting lots of players.
710 Halloween
Should be a lot of
crafted
fun.
gear. These can drop up to
That's awesome.
725 if
And
we're in the
then
notes.
there's
Those
rewards
bosses.
associated with this, I'm assuming. So.
Of course.
Yep. So there is a 725 up-leveled item, one
Yep.
for each boss that you'll be able to get each time they show up. And then there's 710 items across the board of all of their existing loot that will also be leveled up. So there'll be some fun stuff that you can kind of get that's kind of from the past brought up to current standards.
Nice.
That's awesome. Cool. And
You guys
I know
bring
that
up my
this is
refreshing
something
word?
where
I
players
miss my refreshing word.
have been wanting this for a while. This is one of those things that they've talked about where they're like, we want to do things in the open world with our friends. We've seen some of these events that you have. We want more of that, but we want it to be different, and we want this to be an exciting thing for us to do, like kind of on a daily grind. And so this is definitely something that I think fulfills that and gives them a rotation of different bosses that they've seen in our expeditions, but these are not bosses that you've seen in the open world before. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, this looks still different than what was in the other boss. Like it's similar, but I imagine they're trying not to like spend a ton of time to create like a bunch of new bosses, and this is still like decent content. So I don't blame them from just yoinking the bosses and throwing it in the open world and calling it at the end of the day. But that would be better.
And then is
Very
this something,
unique.
Tracy, is this something that is happening
the fuck?
all
What boss is
season?
that?
Is
That's
this
Savage
something that is
Divide.
just for a limited time? Like what can players expect?
These bosses are going to appear in the world for a week every month, and it'll be a different boss each time all season. So look forward to it.
Cool. And this is just the season 8 thing?
No, this will be for all seasons going forward.
Oh, so that's part of the divide. Is
Nice.
now we're having things divided from just being seasonal, and that can be continued forever. I love that. And another interesting new event that we have coming to Eternum is Faction Fest. Tracy, that's something that you've been working on. Want to tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a new event coming for the community. It's a fun little competition for players in each faction. We wanted to motivate
Volume
them
up
to
a
check out
bit? All right.
expeditions. So we have a new set of rewards for this event specific to expeditions. We'll give you guys more details later.
Love new rewards. And it's a new season, and we haven't talked about the seasonal server. Some of that is because we're doing things a little bit different. So we talked about how Coral Divide and the events are going to kind of kick things off. With the Season of the Divide, we want to give the Coral Divide OPR map its time to shine in the sun. And the seasonal server will actually start later in the season. But we do want to talk.
I love this, and they should be doing this way more, and people will disagree with me, but this is why Throne of Liberty is successful today. What Throne of Liberty did, which is very different, is they had a bunch of content that, and they didn't release it all at once. They spliced it up, released little bits at a time, and it made it just so the game didn't get boring after like 2-3 weeks. Like there's actually stuff to do, and you actually participate in all the content. Like this is way better, and probably should be done for more things, to be honest.
About it. So Joel, what's going on with that?
Absolutely. So seasonal servers are very much
Wanted a
always
bunny
going to
mount
be an
for Easter.
experimental place for us to kind of try
Yeah,
new
that would've been
ideas,
good.
flip New World on its head in certain ways. This one is our twist on what a typical hardcore mode would be for other MMOs. It's heavy focused on challenging the player's knowledge, putting them in a situation where we don't want them to die. The best rewards on this server that you'll be able to get will be things like beating the Gorgon Raid, beating the Sandworm, beating mutated dungeons without dying. However, in this one, dying doesn't necessarily mean your character's gone. What it means is that for those other players that maybe have never even experienced this content before, we're going to give those characters a massive buff. They're going to get a bunch of attributes every time they die, up to, I think, like 125 across all stats. So you're going to be able to build your character in different ways. You're going to be able to hit different breakpoints on the attribute bar. You're also going to be able to equip artifacts across the board in every slot. So 2 weapons, 5 armor pieces, 3 jewelry pieces. And then on top of that, and that's everybody, death or not. So the people that are unfallen, that have never died, will be able to try the raid that way. And then on top of that, there's a couple things, like obviously, I know there's some fatigue with MSQ. We don't necessarily want people to go through that, so we've made more of a quest line that's a tutorial for the server. The goal being is that this server is more of like a weekend event. You and your friend should be able to take about 2 or 3 sessions and get to the end game in that time frame. Something 4 or 6 hours, somewhere in there, depending on your knowledge. Faster if you're really good and you know how to min-max to get to that in-game content. There's a lot of crafting. You can build your own in-game gear, but we let you craft specific gear throughout. We give you a lot of the content that you need, access to Elysian Wilds, the Azoth staff, all of those things we start to give you through this quest chain as a tutorialization. And it's more about testing your knowledge at that point. And then the other side is rewards and making sure that players take something out.
Let me stop here beforehand, man. Nobody trying to level a new character for like the 50th time. I mean, he's trying to address that. He's saying that we're going to make it faster, but I think most people are in that point now where they're looking at endgame content rather than like unfortunately most of the dev stuff recently, which it makes sense from their stats that they originally went over, but they were focused heavily on the early game. Now they have a good mid game, in my opinion. They have a very good early game, and now they're starting to add more to the late game. And this is like one of those things where it's just, I think this is low-hanging fruit from a dev perspective. We're just playing with some numbers, tweaking a little bit of stuff, but the general theme is still there. The general what's been there before is like still present. So it's like not a ton of dev resources, but it might be a nice spin on something that we've done before. So I don't really hate this idea.
We're going to be giving a crafting material that allows players on their prime characters, their main world servers,
Doesn't mean it
to
will be
craft an
popular,
artifact
though.
from season 7 and before of their choice. You want Serenity, you don't want to do PvP, here's your way to get it. So there's some really good stuff. You'll be able to pull out not just cosmetics, but actually things that you might seek, such as tier 3 trophies as well, to your prime characters. And we'll have more information on that soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
So you can go in there, you can craft endgame PvP items that are RNG normally to get, and you can take them to your other character. Like that sounds like actually a very nice reason to do it. Like that's just so nice.
called out something like, not only are we starting that seasonal server a little bit later in the season, we're also running it for a limited time,
Yep.
because it
That's a
is
good call.
something where players will be able to go through the quest line, go through all of the different activities pretty
Deleted
quickly.
my
You
seasonal
can take your
server
time with it if
character.
you want, so we're not telling you you have to do it in a weekend.
Not do
but
seasonal
it's
again.
not going to take too much time, right?
It's
I
very
mean, if
much
you
an
can get your
event. It's very
Ankh,
much a
man,
vacation.
or
It's a
you get
place
your
for you to dip your
Serenity,
toes in and
might
try
be worth
something
it.
different, or potentially get someone else that's unfamiliar with the game in there with you and try it out.
Yeah, and that hits on one of, I think, the concerns that some people had from the last seasonal server, which was the bifurcation of the players, right? So people were joining the seasonal server in this last season and staying on it for quite some time.
Yes.
I mean, some people made that their main for the time being. And this gets them their time playing on the seasonal server and having a lot of fun, trying to stay unfallen.
It's very much scheduled like the rest of the events, like the PTR maps, or excuse me, not the PTR maps, the preview maps. It's very much to fit in as a grouping of content instead of something that is on top of those things.
Should also mention for the bifurcation, right, that this particular seasonal server, you won't be able to join cross-world matchmaking, right?
Yep. We do not want players with 125 attributes across the board and artifacts smashing other OPR players. That is absolutely correct. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is probably something where we would expect players to spend some time on this server and go back, play their main to do their dailies, and then come back over to the seasonal server to finish up.
But also feel like you're making
level 20
rewards and
PvP
cosmetics
was fun,
for your
never
prime
went back.
characters and feeling like your time is valued
Yeah.
and that it persists long term. And we will continue to look at those things for seasonal servers.
Yeah, the PvP server. I mean, I think the main thing with that failed from a PvP standpoint, from my perspective, is like it was kind of like from a large scale. It just was broken. Like if you died in war, you lost your set, and like you're kind of just fucked. Like there's nothing you can do. So like it from large scale it was not sustainable, but from like an open world perspective it was okay, and then you couldn't use stuff in OPR, so it was basically just have fun in open world, have fun in influence races, but that was about it. I don't think it was completely thought through towards the end game, but it was different, I guess. This sounds a little bit more promising because it sounds like there's stuff that you could use here that'll actually be useful for your main, like in terms of getting some of the more exclusive artifacts, and then being able to do like a quote-unquote Iron Man or like soft Iron Man run is always interesting.
Do you keep your character from the seasonal server
No,
this
you do
time?
not keep the character this time, especially now with all that power and artifacts now. But the rewards you will.
Yeah, that's awesome. So next up, and we kind of hit on this a little bit where we were talking about preview weekends, we have more preview weekends.
That's true.
A lot more.
We have a lot coming up. Yeah, and this is a great time to announce that the next yeah, drum roll please. Thank you. So yeah, I'm pleased to announce our next game mode is Capture the Flag. And
yes.
we will be previewing this in not one but two previews. With two different maps. Yes. Two maps. Yeah. Can you believe it? Yeah, we've been working hard on this. And we were having so much fun with like one map. We were like,
this looks cool,
we
actually.
you know, this is similar to how we did the last OPR map for Coral Divide. We started with a lot of gray box maps, right, and like kind of narrowed it down. And then we got two maps that we were feeling good about, and we're just like, let's just see if we can do both, and we did.
And I feel like internally we're all split because we all have a favorite. And there's nobody that's like, yeah, like I love both of them the same. There's always one that you're like, I kind of prefer this one because those two maps have very different like strategies associated with them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so the first one is it's a pretty simple map. It's like this two-tier bridge, very straightforward. We feel like this is the best map to like introduce the game mode and get people used to it. So our version of CTF, it's two flags and the two teams. Obviously, you take the flag, you have to return it, you have to defend your flag.
Is this worth coming back to low key? No, this will be really interesting. This will be really fun.
Attack, and there's definitely coordination. It's a 10v10 mode, I should mention, which is our first game mode of that size. So that should create a different dynamic in itself. We also added two new.
10v10's interesting. Do you do two healers, or what do you do there? Or do you do one healer? It's an AoE. Like that's actually an interesting scale. Capture the flags, your team will naturally be split, so there's going to be some different strategies involved as well. But like the diversity, and the main thing I'm worried about is the queue. But yeah, no, that actually sounds pretty fun. I don't think I'd be killable though. Like if I were a tank and I captured and I like got their flag, I literally don't think I'm killable in a 10v1 situation if I have like any sort of heals on me. I don't know, that'd be interesting.
Gameplay mechanics to this mode. We have jump pads,
My favorite.
which are super cool. Our version,
You have some
our
kind of
favorite
red
jump
if you have
pad
the
is a little
flag,
different than maybe
probably.
what you've seen in some other games. because they actually let you control, which we felt like gives you more strategy. It also gives you more like agency in like when you use them, like because you can run over them without activating them, which is useful in our game since you're constantly repositioning for combat. Sometimes we actually did test a version where they were automatic and it didn't go so well. Like they were just automatically triggering, you like back into them. And so yeah, we decided we liked the manual trigger better, and that's what we went with. Yeah, to go back to the other mechanic is power-ups. So we also added, we have like a health, a haste, and an attack power-up. And they respawn on a timer and just add a little more tactics to the map and like,
I mean, the point that everyone's going to make here is where was this like 2 years ago? But like, I don't think you really look back at this point, and this is like definitely a very, very, very big improvement to New World, and like that, this actually legitimately sounds super, super fun.
Strategy. And yeah, so the second map it's a much wider map. We actually call it wide. That was like the code name for it. But yeah, it's
creative.
We're super creative with our naming. Yeah, so like it has like this straight shot to the other flag, but it's like kind of out in the open. You're like it's super risky to just like run the flag back that way. But there's a lot more going on the sides of the map. So the intention is that there's more routes to kind of use to like, weave in and out of the.
You guys see that?
It's super risky to just like run the flag back that way. But there's a lot more going on the sides of the map. So.
Oh wait, no, that guy has a sword out. Okay. I thought that was a musket player. I was like, oh hell no. Musket player with Overwatch, and there's just a flag in the middle. Oh god.
So the intention is that there's more routes to kind of use to like weave in and out of the different like obstacles.
It feels a bit more like Coral Divide with choke points. And
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's going to be interesting when we see the outcome of how players use it on those weekends. But we have even more than just capture the flag, right?
We do, yeah. So we also have another arena map. So the last arena map we added was in Season 2, the Brimstone Sands arena. And the third one is set in this kind of like ancient temple, like it's like an overgrown temple. What's interesting about this map is it's our largest arena that we've done thus far. But we did something a little different this time where the death fog ring closes in much sooner. And just like slower, like it still ends at the same time as a regular arena, but
dude, I want 5v5 arena so bad.
The arena starts to close in and the tactics.
Honestly, I feel like they can do the 3v3 arenas right now, and they could just make it 5v5 and like slap it on there and call it a day. Like they're small, but like you could do it. And like 5v5, I think is like a very, very interesting dynamic compared to 3v3, and like the build variety would also be different, but same problem at the end of the day. I'm worried about splitting the queue. But it sounds very fun.
Change, right? Like so at the beginning, the range has more of an advantage, right? Because they have more mobility, they can stay at range. But like as the match progresses, that quickly goes away, and then melee becomes the winning tactic.
Yeah, super interesting. And then the last one.
Last but not least, take it away, John.
I'm going to say this one too. Okay, guys, it's my show. So we also have another version of Outpost Rush that is kind of an experiment we're running. This is called Outpost Rush Bare Bones. And the premise here is that in this version of Outpost Rush, you will have all of your...
Part of my intrusion seems like Katie lost some weight. I mean, she might have, or yeah. I mean, it looks like it, but I mean, good for her. That's not hard. That's hard.
Will be deactivated. Okay. So the idea here is that it's a completely level playing field. Players who maybe have bounced off of PvP because they thought their gear wasn't good enough, they can hop into this mode and
she looks good,
just like everyone else, just like people who have thousands of hours in the game, right? Meanwhile, maybe people who have thousands of hours in the game and have like super good gear, and maybe people are saying, oh yeah, your gear's good. That's why.
See, my boss is the complete opposite, where I think he's just kind of given up at a certain point. He's like 65 and it's like does not look like he'd make it past 65. I'm gonna be real. But knowing him, he's gonna make it to like 90 just because he's stubborn. But no, it's good.
You're so good, right? It has nothing to do with your skill. They can jump in here and kind of prove like, no, see, like I'm not good. Like it's not just my gear.
So all of this is to give folks the opportunity to play Outpost Rush who have been concerned that their gear is a limiting factor. And then the other side of that coin is that you can prove that your gear is not the only reason why you're so good at Outpost Rush.
Yeah, and we're actually going to run, with that preview, we're going to run it in parallel with regular Outpost Rush because we kind of want to see what people think, and see if this is resonating with people. So that's why I said it's kind of an experiment.
Yeah. Well, and along with that, to make this change possible, there's been some work done on the activity screen so that we can more easily do mode variants like this, right?
Yeah, that's true. Like so, definitely a big concern on the modes team is that as we add more modes, more maps, we'll actually we talked about bifurcating the audience. That's definitely a concern with modes, right? So we're trying to control that by, for one thing, doing these previews, like we wouldn't have everything active at the same time, right? So CTF would occupy the same slot as bare bones mode. So we would basically be rotating modes in and out. And over time, what we might find is as we introduce new modes, if a new mode really takes off, it's super popular like CTF, that might actually get like a permanent slot, and then maybe a less popular mode might move to the rotation. But we're going to be kind of like measuring the queue lengths and just like
the other spot where this can get really interesting, but it's a little bit weird when you have different team sizes for everything, is it could go to a point where I hit play, or I hit Q PvP or something like that, and I could go OPR, I could go CTF, I could go 3v3, maybe it's 5v5 or something like that. Like some of those modes all kind of thrown into one, kind of like, what Overwatch does, what Marvel Rivals does, what those bigger games do. In that case, you don't really split the queue, but then you also have the mode variety at the same time, and it creates a spot where you just have basically less burnout because you're rotating between a variety of different modes, and that makes stuff really, really interesting as well. I don't know if people would really like that as much, but the difference between scaled content, like for me, I'd rather just do 10v10, 20v20. I don't really love small scale stuff at this point, but 5v5 and 3v3 is maybe better for a different person, so I could see why it would want to be separate to some extent, but just a thought.
Engagement for the different modes to kind of make those decisions.
Absolutely. The engagement, we have in-game metrics, and then as players, we'll have more information on all of this and specific dates and the timelines as we get closer to them. But as with everything, please join the Discord. There will be specific channels set up specifically for feedback on these different preview weekends, and so we love to hear from you.
Does anyone want to say it before I say it? I've got some bad news if you want PvP players to join the Discord. Yeah, they're kind of banned for the most part. Maybe the new ones aren't, but it's not good. It's not looking great. But the ones that aren't banned will probably give feedback. It's just I scored once unlucky. Yeah, I remember that day. I think we just the PvP community got Thanos snapped when the console servers got announced. But yeah, I don't think feedback's gonna happen in that manner if you want it from PvP players. I don't know what to tell you there. It's a bit of a lost cause at this point.
Get your feedback on each different preview that we have. And then obviously in game, you can always do the submit feedback feature. We do get that as well. Just make sure to call out whichever map it is that that you did that you want to give us the feedback on. So we really appreciate that. We're going to be looking very closely at what players are doing and what they're saying. So that's enough of you talking, JR.
Okay, I'm done.
enough of that. So let's totally switch gears here and talk about something that is another thing that players have been talking about for quite some time, and that's barbershop.
Yeah, that's me. So we are going to allow you to purchase a barbershop token in the in-game store with Marks of Fortune, and you will be able to customize your character. There's characters on PC that have been around a long time that don't necessarily get the chance to use some of the new customization we added in Eternum. This is a great time to update your characters, change your look. Maybe you really wanted that new hairstyle. Now's your chance, and that will be available.
God, that's the hairstyle you want. It's just not the hairstyle you want, man. Then some kind of dedicated website set up for thoughtful, well-written feedback. Oh, like the forums that got deleted. Yeah, no, it's kind of doomed in terms of feedback at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
Available in Season 8, right at the beginning.
Yeah, and
Really want the
some of
bowl
us
cut?
want to take the characters that we created on our consoles, and we still want to update those ones, even though they're new, because that's part of our playstyle. Is updating once we get a new skin. We're like, well, this hair color is not really working anymore.
Yep.
So super excited for that coming out. The next one that we have is new artifacts. So I gave you a slight break in talking, JR. Very minimal, but it is your turn again.
Yes.
We have quite a few coming
I'm a
out.
busy
for the
man.
Season of
So
Divide.
yeah, we have seven new artifacts coming, and I can't list them all off the top of my head, but there was one in particular that seemed pretty cool to me. It's this new blunderbuss called Chaos, and it does these explosive rounds that knock back people. So actually, it would probably be pretty useful in CTF, I imagine. So yeah.
More falling.
To be honest, it would have been great if we didn't have the the manual jump pads, because you can
Oh
knock
yeah,
somebody
because then you
back
could knock people
onto
into the jump pad and then like launch them out of the map. Yeah, that'd be super
Yep.
fun.
We'll do a mode variant
How
someday
dare you
with
not
auto
let me
jump
do
pads.
that? Well, that's awesome. And then while we're on that subject of weapons and combat and all that good stuff, we also have combat.
I mean, that's kind of what we want though in terms of artifacts, right? Like people are looking for like not necessarily the like they could be balanced, it could not be balanced, but at least something like interesting that's not just like a stat change, like kind of fun. It doesn't even have to be new, but like rehashed mechanics that are different and like feel unique, right? Like Scorpion Sting is like, oh my god, this completely changes how Spear plays. This is completely different, opens up a bunch of build varieties. And I feel like ever since that one came out, there hasn't really been another that's like captured the creativity as much. But this is definitely one of those. When repulsive hammer artifact with 500% knock and clear out. Yeah, we need that one. Wasn't that like one of them on the PvP servers where you could just knock people and they turn into a fireball and they go flying? Those are always like super silly, and it definitely welcome, even if they're not super balanced. But it's just something that's like funny to look at the minimum.
Updates happening, and I think there's some that Dan, you're also pretty interested in for this season.
Sure. Yeah, there's a few things here. The first one being we're having some changes made to target lock. I'm just going to keep piling on JR because it's kind of funny to me at this point. JR,
Yeah.
we've done a couple things to target lock.
Yeah.
What were they again?
Well, first I want to talk about the reasoning. So, like for making target lock adjustments. Okay, so our game is very skill-based, right? Like combat is kind of the core of the game, and that being heavily skill-based, right? So when we made the move to console, we added target lock primarily as a feature to help controller players compete against mouse and keyboard players, right? To effectively for the aim assistance, right?
Yep.
But we also have an aim assist
aimbot.
in addition to that, right? An aim assist is for manual aiming primarily, right? To help guide the missiles, guide your projectiles, help you get hits, to account for the lack of accuracy. So when these two things are combined, it turns out that they're very powerful. And yeah, it turns out.
We wanted to err on the side of making sure that controller wouldn't be a barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what we've done in Season 8 is we've reduced the power of aim assist inside of target lock, because you have target lock's helping you aim, but it's not going to be like 100% you're going to hit everything, right? Especially for moving targets. It's still going to be useful in certain situations when your target's stationary, which is not often in PvP, but still in PvE it's going to be pretty much as useful as it was before. But in PvP specifically, you're going to find that when your target's moving, you're not going to lead the target as much if you're using target lock. But we also kind of adjusted aim assist to account for this. So controller players will learn quickly, I think, to stop relying as much on target lock for ranged combat, and they will selectively unlock and then just try to manually aim. And they'll find that they're more successful at that than they were, in previous seasons.
I don't know if this really fixes the fire staff problem with Pillar of Fire, but it sounds like it adjusts for most of the other edge cases. The fire staff problem with Pillar of Fire is that whenever you use Pillar of Fire, if you target lock right before, your target will be centered, like the pillar will be on the center of the target, right? And effectively it can't miss at that point. So it's like a guaranteed hit, and at that point it's just like a super strong ability because you don't have to predict where people are going or anything like that. So I don't know if it completely fixes that issue, but it sounds like most of the other issues are resolved by this. It doesn't, but overall is a major step, just way too late. Yeah, it's the having stuff come out every season is every 3 months is I think really forgiving from a development standpoint, and is really nice from a corporate standpoint, but from a gamer standpoint won't be there to capture the attention long enough, which is part of the reason why I'm saying it's a really good idea if they for this team in particular, it would be really helpful for them to release content once every 3 months, have that content come out in waves effectively to stretch the 3 months, so it doesn't just feel like you play for a week or two, you got everything, and then you leave again, play for a week or two, and then leave, and then week again, which is why we were talking about earlier. We see for New World, if we go to all time, where it's just peak, we have content, no content, no content, peak, we have content, no content, no content. You want to stretch that out a little bit more, and that'd be a good way to help. But we're not there yet.
We've also made some changes to kind of add some more counterplay
drop
to
it all at
target
once,
lock.
exactly.
And this applies to melee and range. In the current iteration of target lock, it's very sticky, and there's no real way to break someone's lock. Like you can try to like outplay them, but they will just like basically keep their lock even if you dodge through them, you know. But so that's something we actually just changed is now it will break your lock if basically your target like moves too far behind your camera, it will just break the lock. And that also fixes an issue we had with like abilities like burnout that have a lot of traversal to them.
Yep.
It no longer like tries to spin around and go back to them.
Yeah.
So it'll break the lock. So it's actually beneficial in many ways, and also kind of adds more counterplay. You can actually like kind of try to outsmart people that are target locked onto you. And then lastly, we also added now when you go into aim down sights, it just automatically breaks target lock. That was something that we kept in there initially because we didn't want to like disrupt like the melee flow, which has some ADS abilities. But it turns out that we could do it with just the ranged weapons, so that's kind of what we did. So now like musket and bow, blunderbuss, they'll just immediately break target lock as soon as you go into ADS, which feels good.
And we didn't go too far into just removing it entirely because we want to see incrementally like how well this improves combat and how well this balances things as we go, because it is a very delicate balance.
Yeah, for sure, and it is still a useful tool. Like having the way I see target lock is it's just another tool in your tool belt. It shouldn't be the only tool though, and I think that's where we kind of went too hard on it. It was too good.
Yeah, our goal was always to make it be like primarily a tool for melee, and it should be something like everybody kind of figured out what we wanted to do. Like if you wanted to lead a target, you should not use target lock. So we're zeroing in on where that needs to be, right?
Right.
Yeah, we could have a whole episode on aim assist and target lock,
Yeah.
but I think we covered it pretty well in this one. We're also going to have more weapon balance updates that's coming in. I know.
I mean, Crush, I guarantee you from a corporate standpoint, they made them do it. Like, from a balance standpoint, it's a freaking nightmare. But, like, from hey, we want console players to actually play the game. We don't want them to feel like they're terrible, so we're going to give them target lock. Like, that makes complete sense. So, like, I get it. The part that I don't like about it is it was implemented, like, so lazily in the sense that it was, like, hella OP. To the point where I've never seen something as bad as that, except for like aimbots, and even aimbots usually aren't as bad as the target lock from other games. So maybe this will be better, but end of the day, that thing was that was not aim assist. That was a full on aimbot, and you can't convince me otherwise. Target lock making me miss bow shots even more than normal. Well, that was the weird part for it, was there was a different target lock encoding if you use, like, there's different aim assist if you use mouse versus if you use controller, right? And then there was like if you use a mouse, if you use a controller emulator, a mouse and keyboard, it's a freaking nightmare, and that's the spot that people always bring up from a competitive standpoint. And considering the game was favored, like, kind of catering towards a more skill intensive / competitive sense, that it did not work out well. Like, it doesn't really belong in this kind of game.
That you've been listening to some of the players, we've been doing our own testing, and so there's some of those changes going in. And then, are we making any changes to tents?
It's funny you mentioned that. I should talk about tents now, right?
That was a very natural segue.
Yeah.
I just sometimes like to talk about tents.
Just tents
you
in general.
guys. Can someone talk about that?
Yes. This was something that actually, I guess we had been talking about this for like years, and we finally just went ahead and did it. This is like, it makes a big difference in influence races, but basically, now if you're PvP flagged and you place a tent, it is now destructible. And enemy factions can destroy that tent. Your same faction can bind to that tent as well. So we wanted to make more counterplay to the placement of spawn points in specifically for influence races. That's where it's really going to make a big impact, right? So now, like if you're fighting over a tower and they just like the other team just keeps respawning, you might be they keep coming from that direction. I'm going to go search over there. And there's still some like strategy in like trying to like hide them. You can hide them in like bushes and things.
Okay, one other enhancement I kind of want for this is I want a limited amount of respawns per campfire or tent or whatever you want to call it, but they probably can't fit that in here. Like, if only 25 people could spawn per campfire, then you're incentivized to make more, and they also naturally get destroyed, so you don't just have 100 people spawning from one spot. That's like super hard to access. But this definitely has the potential to make open world way more fun. Yeah, Crush, I agree.
But yeah, like you'll be able to now stop them from respawning there and make them have to go back to the nearest shrine instead. So
That's right.
Tense.
tense.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like it's not a huge difference, but I think that it adds just a slight, like again, incremental like change to the way that players have been playing. That they got to now create a little side strategy to address that somebody can take down their tents. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting and pretty cool.
At least foundation for us to be more aggressive on the respawn cooldown for shrines, which will probably be the next big thing that we'll see.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was another thing on there too, right?
Is it me?
It is you. This is another one that players have been.
This is like when you have a school project and you have the dynamics of like someone that like doesn't care if they fail or not, so they literally do nothing, and you have someone that just like hard carries the group. Why is everything just? Oh god.
And talking about
Poor
for
dude.
a little bit, and that is an arena ready up and spectator camp.
Yeah, so for
JR.
Ready Up, like we know, especially for arenas. So arenas, it's a fast mode. Often you're not changing your loadout. You just want to get in and go. So now there's a Ready Up feature. For arenas, it's everyone that has to opt in. So because it's only 3v3, if one person isn't ready, it makes a big difference. But we also added it to OPR. In OPR, it's like 25 people have to be ready for it to go.
Yeah,
and these
works.
numbers are tweakable, so we definitely are interested in how that goes and how that feels. But yeah, basically you'll be able to skip right to skip the whole pre-match phase if enough people opt in.
Yeah, which we had tried in a public test realm a couple years ago. We had tried reducing the ready up time, and the reason why we didn't make this just in code a shorter time and why this change makes way more sense is because players were split. Some people really use that time to, hop into Discord, make plans with people, figure that out. They needed that time, and so they felt pretty strongly that we shouldn't reduce it across the board. So this is a really great compromise for the players that just want to get in and play and go, who already know what their strategy is going to be, or they're going in and there's no strategy involved,
Right.
that they can just hop in and play, compromised with the people that do actually want to take that time.
Yeah, and hopefully they're not in the same match, and because then Ready Up would never happen. But
They will be. It's a good call out though. That,
Tracy
like,
just
there will be
nodded way
times
back there.
that this
there will be
happens.
times that
Tracer's
Ready Up doesn't
spoken
happen,
for, like,
and you might be
5
sad if you're on the
seconds.
Ready Up side.
You can just hit the button
Just
over and
held,
over again.
held hostage by
Yeah,
the
that
camera
works.
the
That
whole
always
time.
works.
It makes it go faster.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then we have
Spectator Cam is the other one.
Love
so
this.
arenas,
Yeah.
arenas definitely another big feature, right? So now instead of like being in the bleachers, like squinting, trying to make out what's going on down there, you can be right there in the action, and you can be like cycling through, like spectating. Basically, yeah, it just attaches your camera to both your allies and enemies.
Nice.
Because in the case of arenas, like it's not really going to give you much of an advantage. You can see where everyone is, anyways. And then. Yeah, we also added it in expeditions. Chad, do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so when you unfortunately die against a difficult boss, instead of staring at a wall, now you'll be able to go up to the door and be presented with a prompt and enter into spectator mode and be able to watch your remaining teammates struggle on without you and hopefully progress to victory.
That's awesome.
It's so great. We're going to be able to, well, hopefully we can put it in more places too, but this is a great starting point.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels good.
Yeah, we thought about adding it to
People are gonna love and hate this, but like, this should be added to war. But it would probably need to be different, and not be individual people, and be like a kind of top-down point of view. But yeah, this could be nuts and pickup wars. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is literally just like meant for that kind of mode. The way that Throne does it, which I think works pretty well, is you can walk into any war instance, but you'll be invisible and you can just like run around like your normal character. I feel like that works too, as long as collision's disabled. But that also would work.
CTF, but actually it's such a short respawn time that you'd almost not even see it. So it's So we'll be evaluating like mode by mode, like where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's our deep dive into the coming season. And now we're going to be doing just a real quick review of our living
God.
roadmap. While I'm talking, there should
Like,
be
this
a
has been so
great
long.
visual for everybody who's watching this.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, it's right there. You see it?
Waiting.
We can't see any of it. So this, you'll notice we had presented this back in December to kick things off. What's coming in the next season, that's there for you. That's everything that you'll be getting that we've just talked through. Some of it we didn't touch on today. There will be more information coming up on the website as well as on social as we get closer to the date that the season goes live. There's also been changes to the in development and in exploration column. So feel free to compare, what's moved, see what you're really excited about.
I know the invasion mode moved to in exploration instead of in development, and some invasion people are kind of upset about that one. Honestly, I could not get her. But I don't know what else moved, and honestly, I don't know if I care enough to like look at how priorities have shifted right now. But it looks like they're prioritizing more renewable content, which, in my opinion, is better than just flat content that isn't renewable. So I think this is good.
What's missing?
it's a good
you were
direction.
hoping was going to be on there. For me, and I think it would be a great exercise that we all just talk about the stuff that's really exciting to us. So for me, in development is the new weapon, and while I can't say what that is because we want to keep some things a surprise, I will say that sometimes you have to cheer with both hands.
I was so
Totally not
curious
giving
what you were going to say.
Anyway, I'm very excited about that. I'm super stoked.
So she's basically just giving away that it's two individual weapons. Like you have a weapon in your left hand, you have a weapon in your right hand. It's not just like you have a stick that both hands are holding or something like that. So all this is saying is it's going to be like something like it probably won't be daggers at this point because daggers has been in the data mine forever. The other thing that's been in the data mine is like I think it's called Thunder Fist or something like that. Like I don't know. Like maybe it's like boxing gloves or something stupid. I don't know what the new weapon is. No one knows what the new weapon is, but it's something that requires two hands.
For what the team's been working on, it's very exciting, and we've been playing around with that. Dan,
So the
what
new,
do you?
Brass
new weapon
knuckles is too
confirmed
violent.
pom-poms.
Yay!
Yay.
Hey.
What am I excited about? I'm excited about a catchy name still in development, procedural expeditions with extraction.
Yeah, really rolls off the tongue really well, you know.
It's a working title.
I think Tracy actually came up with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's we actually have been prototyping it. Chad's team is doing a fantastic job of prototyping it. It's again, I can't really share too much yet. It's I know the name is a little mysterious as to what it might be, but it plays great. It turns out that our expedition content. I think there's a few interesting things we've learned. For example, like we have a lot of enemy types that we've never really thrown at you in the same place in the same fight, and so like getting to kind of go through a crazy remix of all of the enemy content in the game, doing like exploring a procedural map, like it's a dungeon crawl experience that really fits in the game.
So is this Helldivers? I guess. Honestly, this sounds like something that could fit pretty well. Daggers, akimbo rifles. Please don't be akimbo rifles in my game that has muskets.
I'm excited about
That
it.
is so
Especially, like,
out of
infinite
place.
Expeditions, right? That's like the.
Okay, that's
Thanks,
enough.
Bill.
That's
I
not-
miss
is
you,
that too
Bill.
much? Okay.
I like that name. I like that name. Maybe we should change that.
JR, before you get us all into trouble
Yeah.
with marketing, what are you excited about?
I'm excited about our next game mode, which I can't talk about yet, but just know that it's coming and it's cool and that you'll love it. That's all.
And you'll be
Oh, like, what?
seeking.
What? Can I talk about other
Wait,
stuff?
no, stop.
Okay.
You'll be seeking the crown. Chad?
I'm certainly excited for the new zone in development.
Yes.
So with the Legion Wilds, we were reworking an existing zone. We did a lot to it, but for this one, it is an entirely new part of the map, new zone, new architecture, new theme, new questing, new enemies, lots of new stuff. Tons
Sorry,
of
I'm
passion from the
adjusting-
team
I'm checking
developing
Discord real
it.
quick.
Everybody's super excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw a screenshot this morning. Somebody's crossing a bridge into the zone and this giant vista in the background, and it's just really cool looking. I think Dan shared that actually this morning.
Yeah, that's a great vista of what you'll see.
Yep. Joel, what are you excited about?
I'm excited for a couple things on the list. I'm really excited for being able to save my attributes into my gear sets. I'm really excited for gear set
That'll be
bonuses
nice.
that we're going to have on new pieces of gear. It's going to allow us to really add new chases into different places in the world. Artifacts have been really successful.
Gear set bonuses are coming? Wait, that wasn't on the list before. That's actually huge. That's actually that's a really, really big deal, actually. That means that if I had 5 Savage Divide pieces, I get a Savage Divide bonus. Or if I had 2 Savage Divide pieces, I get a different Savage Divide bonus or something like that. Like that is a lot of renewable content right there. That's really smart. It's the most excited I've heard you all video. Yeah, because that's actually like, that changes a lot. That wasn't something that we saw in the notes. I didn't really realize that was coming. Like that's a big deal.
We think that we can add more of those into different pieces of gear as a whole collection, and that's really what leads into some of the in-game overhaul that we're looking at for progression. We
Yep.
want to make our chases across the board more meaningful and give you more ways to collect things across the board. So I'm excited to see what our team can do with those updates coupled together. I think there'll be some fun stuff there.
That is
The
interesting.
overhaul is really going to like kind of expand what we call in-game content, right? Because there's reasons
Something
to
that surprises
replay
never
all
part of
this
the game.
stuff,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Get more horizontal progression, because that's what artifacts really are, right? Because they're not. It's not just getting stronger. It's like, oh, this is like a new gameplay feature that I can add to my build. That now I can build something around that, right?
Yep. And with the improvement of gear sets, it's also going to be able to allow us to have more of that customization and on the demand by having our attributes saved across the board, and it gives you more flexibility.
The other big problem this solves for New World, and why I'm like actually really excited about this, is New World has a problem where you get to a certain point and you don't really care what comes out because your gear's quote unquote like good enough. Like this actually could meaningfully create a reason to get different sets. Like if I have 4 pieces of Savage Divide, I get some like bonus because I'm like a feral animal or something weird like that. Like that actually could change gameplay a lot, and it creates a lot more chase, and it creates a reason to like craft more things. Like there's a lot that plays into that. That's really nice. Or like for raids that come out, like if there's something built into that for raids, that's great too.
Faster, and I think that's going to be really fun together.
We don't know the gear set
Absolutely.
bonuses yet. That's
Tracy, last
just in
but not
development.
least.
All right.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm going to break the mold here. Everyone's talking about combat, PvP, PvE. I'm going to talk about crafting. I'm excited about global storage. It'll be very nice to not have to jump around everywhere to get all the mats I need. So,
Amen.
That is totally fair.
Long overdue.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for us today. Thank you for joining us.
I forget who I was talking about this with, but like we were talking about storage the other day and how New World progressed. And it's like really interesting because New World started basically like Albion in the sense they had all these different separate marketplaces, you had all these different sets of storages, and then like everything like slowly is getting merged together into one giant thing because it doesn't really fit with how New World is anymore. Like I really like that like Albion like hardcore thing where it's like you have people transporting over like places, and you have like this whole movement of materials dynamic that New World completely misses out on because of this. But for how New World has progressed, I think this kind of makes sense. And it's just like a quality of life thing at this point. I like the more hardcore style than the kind of the soft or softer experience that's a little bit more forgiving. But that's why games like Albion exist, because it favors me more for that kind of thing, and it's more risk, more reward, a little bit more dynamic with the markets and whatnot. But it seems like they're heading in a good direction. I think, as everyone's pointed out, a lot of the stuff here is coming like later in the life cycle for New World, so you hope that, you know, most of this gets kind of taken note of, gets kind of moved into that Lord of the Rings playthrough, because I think most people at this point wouldn't really consider giving New World another like fair chance, but they're doing a good job of like making an argument to come back for stuff like CTF and whatnot. So yeah, this isn't bad. miicrow, all right, time for you to stalk LinkedIn to see if Scott is working on New World. No, I am not doing that, because then I'm gonna leak who I am to everybody. Crush, which you could honestly figure out if you really wanted to anyway, but like no. What the fuck, all my ads are in Spanish? Yeah, that's a you issue. I can't help you there. But no, they're heading in a good direction. I'm curious why some people weren't present on this, but JR did a good job covering everybody, and Katie played facilitator, and I don't know, they're heading in a good spot. But I still kind of lean on, I don't know if there's enough content there to like pull everyone back into like, oh yeah, we're gonna play New World again, but you know, give it like 1 or 2 more updates, and it's definitely looking that way. Like the PvP stuff here is actually like pretty big, and it's definitely something I think a lot of people will play, and I'll probably try out as well. But just, you know, a lot of other good games, a lot of stuff taking people's time right now. So it is what it is. Anything worth coming back? I think the capture the flag mode that they're doing a preview of it, that will be a reason to come back. I think the OPR map is a reason to come back. I think the ability to play the seasonal world and get and craft artifacts that are very hard to access and they will unlock in your other character or characters not really defined yet is a reason to come back. So like you can get Ankh, for example, you can get Serenity. The really hard to get artifacts is a reason to come back. Like they have a few good, like, valid reasons from like a medium to small scale PvP perspective. I still don't think the large is there yet, but they're heading in the right direction. The pots are also really, really interesting in terms of like giving yourself grit with a grit pot. That's going to change the whole PvP meta and be super dynamic as well. So, not bad. Sir, I didn't say do it on stream. What the heck? I don't want to stalk people on LinkedIn. Then I'm going to notify who I'm stalking on LinkedIn. It's going to be weird. But that'd be a way to tell. With that being said, just log out. Guys, I am not stalking people on my LinkedIn. End of discussion. You guys can stalk people and report to me if he's doing that or not, but I'm not doing that on stream. What mats do you think will be used to craft the grit pots? Probably infused alkahest, if I had to guess. Would be the main thing, and then there'll probably be some other like hidden material that will be used as well. That's not really used that much. So there's like you know how there's like protective reagents and stuff like that. Like you imagine it would be like a protective reagent because you know it's a grit pot, and like with grit you're protecting yourself to some extent. So you'd imagine at least take that and alkahest, but there's probably more to it along with that. Feathers. Do we have a feather sink yet? Like something that's like has a bunch of, it might get a gear sink. Something that's like I don't know. Like I don't really have great guesses for that. I'm not really a market manipulator in New World at this point. It's just like I have enough to where I don't really care anymore. So, but if there's a reason to chase gear and there's gear sets coming out, I'm gonna start caring more. I was thinking the same. I think it would be like fire pots, etc. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. He's not on LinkedIn. God damn it. You're stalking him now. He is, but nothing public really. He just uses it as a blog. I mean, LinkedIn is just glorified Facebook at this point. Let's be real. Like the Meta has that whole antitrust like lawsuit going on right now, and it's been really funny what Zuckerberg said. Like Zuckerberg like said in like one of his like interviews that Facebook's no longer the place for people to go to make friends, and it was like, what? Like I don't think you're supposed to say that. It's like LinkedIn's the new Facebook, and then like Instagram is like also kind of there but more casual. It's social media. I mean, yeah, but like Facebook was like used to be a thing that people were like would check up on each other, like, you know, I guess it wasn't really like a friend making thing, but global storage is huge. I think it'll be really nice in this game. I'm still strictly of the opinion whether I am like the opposite of everyone else. I think where I wish people actually had to ride around the map more and had to sign up for stuff, but that's completely flipped. My viewpoint is completely flipped ever since I started playing Albion, and it creates so many interesting dynamics, and it's very, very fun. I use Facebook all the time for Messenger. Okay, Facebook is just Craigslist. It's you have Messenger, which is like, okay, I know you're not a bot, you're probably real. I can actually talk to you here. And then you have Craigslist with Marketplace, and like I don't know what else you go to Facebook for at this point. But I'm also not a user for Facebook, so slight disclaimer. Being in game since travel cost Azoth base weight. Yeah, I'm happy for global storage. Yep. All right, I am going to hop on to Throne because we have a boss in 3 minutes that I'm very likely getting yelled at considering I have 7 pings going on right now. There is also an Albion thing that I can't go to right now. But I'll go to the Throne one. And they're already starting. Which, I guess I'll talk about New World stuff with you guys, but this is the other game I've been playing a lot of and a lot of other people have been playing. I am basically playing as a tank that can one-shot people. We play Renown. I haven't seen Renown yet. All right. So yesterday we did not win this. My role is basically to assassinate certain players. I'm sending out pings to try to see where they are, and those players, if I don't kill them, will wipe my entire team. But you'll see that as I kind of play this more. And it might get a little laggy. But it's very, very large scale. Alright, I'm gonna focus a little bit. Alright, Brandonger is a key target for me to kill. Probably mark him. I forget. But I'm gonna go for him. Oh, there he is. This is their IGL. Alright, they killed me before I can kill him. But I can make this class do more damage, I can make this class do less damage. The idea is I'm like a paladin, I can do more than a paladin if I wanted to. Right now I'm set up very, very defensively, so that I can like basically play without a healer. But I have less damage output potential. Need to change game? Oh yeah. Oh. I was not paying attention, just fell. Because I changed the game. There we go. I'm gonna try AoE spec, I think, because I don't see the people I normally target for some reason. If I see them, I'll probably swap back to single target spec. It'd be helpful if I wasn't getting focused, but I'm getting focused. That's why I normally go the other spec. This one doesn't live that well. But this one has more damage output. But you guys aren't seeing anything right now because I'm not in a group and I'm not getting healed. I'm basically walking into like a 1v 40 50 and it doesn't live very well when you're going in 1v 40 50, even with the buttons that make me live a little better. This guy should be a free kill. Should be, but he got cleansed. I'm pulling him off the map. Also, this game has that thing I talked about where you can change your attributes. See if I can turn this guy into a bomb. He blocked it. Oh, so I'm hitting these guys for like half their health, and I'm basically playing Fire Staff in the sense that I'm stacking a bunch of dots on people. And then the dots do stuff, but I could explode the dots. Stop. That's my problem. I forgot to hit this button. Okay, now I could actually heal myself consistently. That should be a kill. Nope. You're playing Rapier? Yeah. This is AoE spec, so what I'm doing is I'm putting dots on somebody, and then I'm spreading the dots, right? But then the other spec I like to play is like basically a somewhat tanky single target spec, which I might switch to here in a second. Let me switch. Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Okay, they cleansed. I need to change a few pieces of the set, too. They have too much weekend res for me to consistently tap these players now. And there's a set that gives me a lot more of that. I might wait for this to expire, and then I'm going to go AoE again. Because I don't see the people I normally would target. He put me in combat. I'm trying to get out of combat. Think I'm out of combat now? Nope, I wasn't. If you're in combat, you could change stuff, but then everything's on a 15-second cooldown, so it's kind of important to be out of it. So, like, right now I'm, like, pretty vulnerable. I only have my pots. There's so many people over here. This game's large scale is like runs weirdly well, but it's like very basic. Visually it is, yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare. So all the yellow and green people are people on my team, all the red people are people on the other team. And most people play with the group. I am not playing with the group right now. What's happening right now is there is a fight to enter this portal. This portal has a boss, and that boss drops really good loot. So everybody is basically trying to hold space so that our PvE players can get the loot. There's supposed to be a bunch of people up top right there. Alright. The problem with me targeting healers is they cleanse, so it's like, unless it's mid-fight, I can't really consistently kill them anymore. At one point I could. That guy got yeeted. He might be dead, actually. Gotta pull this guy. Oh. See if I could eat this dude. This guy has collision now. Yeah, it's collision res. See Brandonger. This is a primary target because he's the IGL. It's also the guy, if I'm next to, I'll probably die. Yeah. So this guy is like buffed at the wazoo. Like he has like 20 billion buffs on him. So he's very hard to kill, but if you kill him, it's a very... You get a lot of value. I keep getting Overwatch ads. I wish Blizzard didn't suck. Overwatch did not pan out well, unfortunately. I don't want to change my spec and go more damage to my single target. The AoE doesn't feel impactful enough, and the single target doesn't feel impactful enough right now. Which I'm set up to kill, like, not the tanky people. Guy is dodging most of my stuff. I wouldn't be rolling this much, but people run so much shield pen now that rolling is better than other ways of damage mitigation. Like, normally I would block because I'm a tank, but people have built to counter that. I'm just gonna spread the dot, I think not pop it right now. Because I don't think he's killable. This guy is killable though. Alright, he's dead. Doesn't really make sense for me to cause like the explosion to go off immediately if I can't secure kills. So I'm just gonna work on probably spreading dots more. Why does he have so much weaken res? I'm gonna pop it here. I think I can kill. Yep. Got one. I need to chill. Yep, nope. I don't have a ton of range, so I have to get close to these guys, but they do a bunch of damage, so I don't have a healer right now because I'm not in a group. So. What do you think of the recent addition, like, traits? This game is just like, they've been slowly releasing content. That stuff that comes out next week is called Residence, which is basically just more stats. And it can make you tankier, can make you do more damage. That will change the meta a little bit. Right now, there's a very different EU meta compared to an NA meta, and it's been kind of interesting. It should be more damage. No, let's do this too. Shit, I can't do that. All that. Do that for now. So now I have more damage in my single target spec. But it can't help me if I can't hit people and I got feared. That's not a fun mechanic. That is the MMOCC mechanic. This is where I wish I was in a group, man. Because I'm in a group, then I could get saved there every single time, but not in a group, so it's like ass. Oh, perks in Overwatch? Oh, like with the new mode in Overwatch? Why not playing in a group? The way that they've set up my rule is to not play in a group right now, and I don't like it. But that's just the way that people have set it up in NA. The idea is, in theory, you should be able to keep yourself alive. It's just, in practicality, it's like not easy to do it all the time. Where am I? Oh. Alright, this guy should be a free kill. And it wasn't a free kill because he got healed. Swear to God, if I take more damage again, stop hitting me. Can't one-shot that person right now. This person should be one-shottable, but I need a few more seconds. I'm not really getting that. It's almost a one-shot. That guy's probably worth going for again if I get an opportunity. I'm gonna shield up a little bit. I'm gonna chill and heal up. I'm waiting for this guy to take damage and I'm gonna go for him. So I'll go for him now. There we go. That guy, I can't one-shot, but I can put pressure on. Now I can kill them. I'm too low. Should be a one-shot. There we go. I'm cycling to different people. I'm trying to find someone I can actually kill. This guy is not killable, but I can put dots on him so that he passively takes damage. Problem is he's avoiding most of the damage because he's resisting it. Why is he blocking everything I'm throwing at him? That's how I'm... Okay. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to put a dot on him and walk away. I'm letting him bleed out. Is this a healer? It's not a healer. What are you doing here? I don't know what this guy's doing here, but I'm gonna blow him up real quick. And... Okay, this guy's really trying to not have me blow him up. This other guy over here is lower, though. They cleansed it. That heal, like, they shouldn't be able to play there. We're just not focusing them. I hate how conditional the one-shot is, but it makes sense. I'm gonna go for this guy again. I'm gonna change my order of my skills, though, to make it a guarantee, or it should be a semi-guarantee. Before I was sleeping, I wasn't sleeping early. But if I sleep early, then it should be a... Like, they shouldn't be able to mitigate it, or I can let other people do stuff and then go for it. I need to go... Like, they're not taking any passive damage is the problem, and I can't kill them if they're not, like, pressured at all. Yeah, I can't kill that guy there right now. There we go. There's one shot. Now just healer left. Okay. I'm gonna ignore the healer for now. Switch target. All the dagger players I can't really hit. This guy should be free. And he got cleansed. It's fine. Should be a one shot. There we go. But this is what endgame looks like in Throne. Definitely not the most visually appealing game. Where is ZZZ? There's her spinner. Resist? It's not legal. I want to swap my cape to a different cape that gives more weakened chance so I don't get resisted as much. But I haven't done it yet today. It's annoying because there's only a few targets here I could actually hit. So like this guy I could hit. There we go. Can you go up top real quick? Kill this. These. Oh shit! Nope, I can't go up that high. I can kill him down here, but cannot kill him up top. Could I rat somebody? Yep. I probably shouldn't be here. Getting focused by a bunch of people. Now I'm lagging a bit. I might go inside in a second and show what the boss looks like. Oh, they stunned me. I was trying to get under them and then live and go for other people. They have a bunch of people up top there. But I got killed before I got up there. Fortunate. See if I could find any of the key targets I'm trying to blow up. I saw them pre-fight, but I couldn't get up to the spot to kill them. There's one of them. Oh, this guy usually plays as a different spec. But this is what I mean by this class is kind of an assassin. Except I messed up my order. Now I'm just going to sleep him and kill him in a second. I messed up my order so bad. That should have been a very easy one-shot. And it was not, because I did everything kind of backwards. That time I got a barrier. I'm going to switch. Good combo, man, really? Wait. This guy doesn't have a healer. He's running. Oh, he got his healer back. It's this guy. There you go. Now he has no healer, so now I could probably kill him. He's got a different healer. Where'd you go? I don't even know where the guy I was targeting went. There's too many people. Oh, they keep cleansing. Dude, I need to go back to AoE. I'm gonna go to their backline real quick. This guy's resisting. This guy's not. Can I kill a tank? I think I can. That's a full combo. Nope, I can't. It wasn't a heavy. They keep pulling me out. I am like a high prio target for most of them because I can kill their shot callers. I'm uncontested, but I've been very contested. Yep. Got contested. Having fun yet, or is solo life still awful? Here, it's like kind of mid. This content, like, I think the GVG is more fun. Like 48v48 is like way more fun than 240v240. There's just like too much going on here. We're gonna do another AoE fight. I keep going between single target and AoE. My problem is my AoE doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does decent damage. My single target does good damage, but it's not super consistent. I think we just gotta win like one section and then like rotate. The other argument is I can go in the portal as a single target spec, and then I can kill like the few people that are getting in there. Get closer. Oh, shoot. I got bombed. Gonna drop Sacred on himself. I'm gonna move on. Got focused. Can't live that, unfortunately. I don't know if AoE works if I'm alone. Single target kind of works if I'm alone. But it's such a long setup. Trade by Eagle Pocket. I mean, usually people have 2 heals, 2 DPS, 2 tanks in a group. And in that setup, this rolls a lot easier. I feel like I've been kind of a non-factor this fight. That's not how I'm playing. Let's see if I can do a pull combo. Where are you? I see you. Zen guys should be dead. I have my spread in a few. Wait, I'm hitting a dagger? Normally I can't hit those guys. Alright, going for AoE bomb and portal. I feel like something changed recently and people got a lot tankier towards my spec. Because like 2 or 3 fights ago, it was really, really easy to kill everybody. Oh, I don't want to be here. Freaking Christ. This dude's getting cleansed so much, but he's their shot caller, so it's like important to target him. That's all they're saying. They're saying kill this dude in globals, but he can't die because he's getting cleansed over and over. Yeah, I'm dead here. Don't know who his healer is. There's too many people here to try to figure out who his healer is, and this healer's constantly cleansing him. So it's not possible for me to really one-shot him, but I would like to one-shot him because he's their IGL. You're definitely getting focused a lot. Oh, I'm feuded. I'm a common feud. All that means is people, like, you see where I'm tracking the IGL and how he has a red thing above his head? I have a red thing above many of the enemies' heads, so they're gonna prio me over other people. Which makes it hard for me to play the game, and I don't have anyone healing me, so it makes my job tricky. Like, the ability to one-shot anybody is, like, kind of scary. So this guy right here... Wait, he's not a spinner. Why do I have him feuded? Alright, this healer has less HP. I think I can kill him. But they have weaken res. So I can't consistently hit weakens on them. What about this guy? Tubu is... This is a spinner. Spinners are very scary because when they spin, they kill people. This is a very high priority target to kill. And he's trying to not get one shot right now. God, he's... Why is he tanky now? Yeah, he's spinning. He's got a double heal pocket, I think. Dude, this is rough. Everyone that should be able to be one-shot is just getting pocketed so hard that I can't one-shot them now. I can go for reroll tech, I guess. Is that the dot I need? No, it's not. Now it is, but he's already dead. I'm trying to reroll my hits until I hit a heavy attack and then go for an explosion, because a heavy attacks deal 20, like, or they do double damage. It's just, like, a very low chance versus some of these builds. So, I have a chance to do double damage, but it's not super likely. So the way that I fix this is I basically just add more stats, or I try to go for a different strategy. Going for the different strategy, in my opinion, makes more sense, but... Yeah, I'm gonna back out here and kind of show, like, the stat stuff I'm talking about in terms of going for a different strategy real quick, and then I think I'm gonna either call it or go to Albion. See if Albion's doing a thing. Wait, I have a different thing in a little bit. Actually, I probably can't do that much more today. But the way that this game works, this is probably the more interesting part, and I don't think there's as many people now to, like, see this part. Oh, that was my problem. I was on my PvE spec, and the PvE spec doesn't do as much damage as the PvP spec. Okay, we ignore the fact that I was playing the wrong build, and I probably could have done a lot more damage because I was on the wrong build. But that explains actually like everything that was happening there, and that's really annoying. But regardless, so this game has an interesting concept with stats to where stats fall off and they give diminishing returns, which is very different than New World where stats are like effectively linear. One of the problems that New World has and like why tanking's OP in New World is I could effectively mitigate like 90% of the damage a normal person would take, and that's obviously like very hard, if not impossible, to balance. Versus this game, it's like if I add more weaken chance, that gets countered by weaken res, and then the difference of these two gets also diminishingly scaled. So it's like you can't become too OP. You can become like strong within reason, but you can never become a god effectively. And that's something that I think New World could do better too. The problem is it requires basically a redesign of most of the systems in the game, which isn't easy to do. But that's just something kind of interesting I wanted to point out. So like one thing that I'm thinking about there is like a lot of those people I was hitting, it said like that they're getting resisted. And this cape doesn't have weaken chance on it, right? So there's a different cape that some people were talking about potentially using that has that weaken chance, so then I'd be more likely to hit those people that were resisting my stats. And I think it's this one. Yeah, as weaken chance and cooldown speed. The weird part is this is a cape from the previous expansion. So it's like one of those things where it's like it doesn't usually make sense to use it, but in this case it kind of makes sense. So but it's kind of expensive now because no one's doing that boss. Yeah, it doesn't even exist. That's funny. This used to be really cheap. Actually, do I have this cape still? There's a chance I actually have that cape still. I probably don't, though. That's something I've been looking at, like swapping to... No, I don't. Looks like I got rid of it at one point. But I don't know, it's just like little text like that. Like you can actually like kind of fine tune your build to more of an extent in this game. I like the way the stats worked in this game. I just don't think the combat plays quite as well, especially on large scale. On large scale, I don't think anything really compares to Albion. In this game, medium scale feels decent. But large is like kind of boring in my opinion, but it looks cool. Sometimes. I think that fight did not look very cool, but sometimes it looks cool. So that's TLDR at that game. But a lot more popular than New World in general, which is the interesting thing. And it's mostly because they did structured rollout of content. So they had an expansion for this game like a while ago. But like probably like a month ago. But they've like rolled out the content slowly over time, and that's why it's been still pretty popular in a sense, where it's like, hey, because content is getting rolled out over a long period of time, people are still playing it. So is that not in your inventory, or is that a different green cape? It's a different one. This is a T2 cape. This is a T2 cape. I'm looking for a T1 cape that is like called Chonoberg, I think, or something like that. And the main thing is it gives me a bunch of like weaken chance. So like my ring, for example, right now, it gives like 100 weaken chance, right? So that helps me hit those people that are resisting me more. My helmet also gives me a weaken chance. So this is like another thing I can increase my amount of weaken chance. There's another way to solve this problem too, and it's like one of the reasons why gearing in this game is kind of interesting. Where right now I'm going for this synergy, right? Where it's like, hey, if I have 3 different runes, I gain 800 HP and I gain 3 perception, which is like kind of like, it's a stat that helps you hit stuff more. I could drop this and then I could run 3 runes that give me weaken chance. So I could increase my weaken chance by 90, but my trade-off is I lose the magic endurance, which helps me stay alive more. I lose weaken resistance, which helps me stay alive more, and I lose HP. So there's like a lot involved, but in terms of optimizing, it gets very interesting. Gosh, this game is so complicated. It is, but the cool part about that is there's like 5 different ways to solve every problem, and that I haven't really ever seen before. So like most games, it's like, oh, like always run this, right? Because this is always better. Like in this game, it's like more about what your general stats are, and then there's different ways to solve problems with general stats. So like, for example, I needed more hit chance, so I put on this bracelet, but there's another bracelet that I was using before that is better for living, but then the downside is I lose hit chance, so I don't hit stuff as often. I lose heavy attack chance, and I lose like some other stats as well. I wish it was less grindy, but I appreciate the complexity. Yeah, it's I think I kind of land on it, but it's like, it's grindy, but it's not the most grindy thing I've ever done, but it's definitely like on the grindier spectrum, but it makes sense because it's a Korean MMO, so what can you expect? I don't know, I still prefer, I think, Albion the most, but I talk about that game a lot. I think this game's like decently fun, it's just not quite there. Oh, is this because I dipped after this event? Yeah. There's also dynamic events, and that's what that reward is. So like throughout the day, there's different stuff to do. So in 20 minutes, there's a boss I could fight that has a chance to drop any of these drops. And then depending on how well I do, I get additional rewards. And then there's events that go on that give me also rewards. And then there's more bosses that give me other rewards. And it's just like, there's basically a constant stream of content. And it's a little bit different. Dynamic open world events that go a long way in New World. I mean, they're kind of doing that with the bosses, right? Like the new bosses and how they work is effectively like a dynamic open world event where more people can play it. I mean, it's like less than a 1% drops for daily content. Yeah, from the boxes. The boxes have a 0.3% chance to unlock any reward from a boss. So this little chest here, there's like this Leviathan equipment selection chest. Like, it's incredibly rare to be able to get any of these equipment pieces. And that is why a lot of them are really expensive. So like the 2 upgrades that I'm mostly looking for, besides that cape, which is like tech that we thought about like today. So that was not something that we really thought about before, where it was like, hey, this cape actually might be good right now. There is a ring that a lot of people want called a Black Anvil ring, which is really, really expensive, but all this does is it gives me a bunch of stats and it gives me heavy attack chance. And that heavy attack chance is basically a chance to do double damage. And for me, that is basically the difference between one-shotting and not one-shotting, which is why it's so important. My problem right now is the way that I built the build. I have less of an ability to one-shot, but I have more of an ability to live in the sense. So I could make it squishier and then one-shot people more, but then the flip side of that is like, okay, say I'm not in a group and then I'm squishier. Do I get the chance to one-shot people? Like, there's a line there, and it's like finding the balance, I guess. Throne Liberty seems to have a lot of good systems, but the daily grinding aspect in the combat holds it back. Yeah, it's like, I mean, that's the difference, right? Like, New World solved the hard problem, I'd argue, which is the combat, but then they kind of managed to fail at every other system. Albion solved the combat, but it's literally just League. And then they have a lot of the other systems, which is why it's been such a popular PvP game for a long time. And then Throne has mostly been popular because it's newer. It's not necessarily because it's better, but because it's newer. So that piece is an upgrade in a few other ones, but the other one is like sacred. It's like a sacred gloves, but they're also like really expensive. So I could actually like afford these right now, but it's not like it helps me a bit, but it doesn't solve all my problems. It does help me a lot though. Like I'd actually like consider buying these. I just haven't really thought about it as much. Because what this lets me do is I get more, so it's like I'm trading perception for dexterity. Dexterity is a worthless stat to me, unfortunately. Range is kind of nice, like you saw there, where I had to get kind of close to the point where I was dying. Losing cooldown speed is annoying. Losing attack speed is annoying. But the main benefit of this is that I preserved that set effect, which is something that New World's talking about adding. Which the set effect basically lets my dots, my curses, whatever you want to call them, do more damage. So then, by using those, I could use this helmet, which is really good. I could drop this chest, which is like kind of mid. And then I could pick up this other chest, which is really, really good. But I won't be able to get that set bonus. And because I wasn't able to get that set bonus, it didn't make sense to run that chest right now. But if I had that other piece, it would make sense to run this. So it's just like, by getting that one piece, it unlocked like kind of a cascade of events to where I have more heavy attack chance, I have more weaken chance, and I'm going to be able to consistently kill more people at the cost of being able to attack faster and at the cost of like being able to cast more often. When you say T2 stuff is everything gear score lock / sunset, it's not completely sunset. So like this piece right here I'm using is from T1. It's still viable in T2. It's just there's better options when you get to T2. There's a cape I was talking about earlier that's a T1 cape that I would argue for my specific role is better than any T2 capes that are currently available. So like there are avenues to where T1 pieces can be better than T2 pieces. It's just like kind of debatable. You go for weaken chance, but then you have a problem with hit. Exactly. So it's like a balancing effect, right? The argument for going more weaken chance is right now I have more hit than I need. Most people that I'm targeting specifically do not run like dodge chance or evasion chance. Like they're running endurance, and endurance is basically every time I get hit I have a chance to make the hit do less, which doesn't inherently work doesn't work versus the type of build I play very well, but that's kind of a different topic. The main thing is that if I drop my hit, there's not necessarily a downside if I target specific people that I don't need that hit for. There's certain people that have a bunch of evasion, and I will never be able to like consistently hit them with my hit. Like it's like to hit a person with like 3,000 evasion would be like somewhere along the lines of like a 1/3 odd to hit. So it's like you just don't go for those targets. Now the primary build, I'm going for 2 primary players with this build, and unfortunately I didn't really display that well because I had the PvE set on because I was not set up because I was PvEing before we started the New World stream. But I built this to counter DPS players specifically. So it's like I have a more tanky spec, and the idea is there's the players that can like one-shot 10 people on my team, and I could target those players, and those players can't one-shot me, and I can one-shot those players. So it's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. So they can one-shot my team, I could one-shot them, they can't one-shot me. So it's like I'm a counter to them, but I'm also weak to other things. So it's just like one of those. Yeah, endurance does nothing versus curse explosion. Yep. The weird one is like crit chance, and I don't know. It's like the meta in this game dictates like what builds are viable. So like some people like are running 1,400 magic heavy chances, like with double I have, and they can one-shot people way more consistently, and I'm trying to build more towards that. And like when I was talking earlier about those sacred gloves, like those sacred gloves give me the opportunity to do that, because then I could use this slot for those gloves. So I keep my heavy attack chance effectively. I add in the heavy attack chance from here. I add in the weaken chance from this armor as well. So I end up basically being able to do more damage at the cost of being able to hit stuff a little bit more, and a few other like kind of minor benefits. The main downside is that I lose stats, which will cause me to lose perception, which then causes me to lose CC chance. So even though I'm gaining weaken chance, I also lose weaken chance, and like I don't know, it's like you have to balance like a few things there. And then in order to compensate for that, because I just lost perception, say I didn't want to run these anymore, which also give me heavy attack chance, which are kind of nice, and I ran a different piece. Do I have them on me? I have a different amulet that gives me perception. That gives me 6 perception over 4 strength, so I can get my perception up higher, to which I could probably hit the 70 perception threshold, which is really nice because 100 CC chance is also 100 weaken chance, which is one of the things I'm trying to get to consistently be able to hit targets I'm going for. So it's like there's all a balancing act here. It's just like kind of what you're built to counter. Right now, I'm built to soft counter DPS builds, but it's not perfectly built that way. So it's kind of interesting. Like the optimization in this game is wild. And then also the build variety from different like weapons you get is crazy. So like the way I'm building right now, where I'm like, hey, I'm tanky, I could heal myself, I can go off on my own, and I can one-shot people potentially. Like that's never really a great possibility without this wand. And this is like really hard to get. But by getting this, it opens up like a whole different train of builds, right? Versus like New World, it's not like I get an artifact and that artifact opens up all these different build possibilities. Because like that artifact more so like enhances a way that a build currently works. It doesn't like fundamentally change anything. And that's like a big difference between the two games. Is like your playstyle can change a lot depending on like what you have equipped. What's going on, Silo? How are you doing? Old stuff is garbage now, like Blue Violent Signet before T2. I forget what Blue Violent Signet is. Let me look. Wait, that's not a piece. I mean, basically every purple weapon is an artifact in Throne of Liberty. Yeah. I mean, they're going to add in legendary weapons too. Those have already been data mined. So it's going to get even crazier. But it's just like if I were to go down just the different swords and like what they all do, like this sword makes it so I could heal myself way more effectively. This sword makes it so my little pull thing can pull multiple people, and it also has some substats that are really, really strong, like the skill damage boost. This other sword makes it so that there's an ability that lets you throw a shield, and if I'm in a 1v1, this sword allows my throw shield thing to basically one-shot them, guaranteed. And if not, it's basically just Captain America and the shield just bounces around like crazy. So it's like completely different things. And this one basically just lets you have like a giant cone root, like completely transforms the playstyle. Nirma's one I like to use a lot, where it's like you have an ability that can stun stuff that comes up very often. So someone's trying to interact with something, you can prevent them from interacting with it. So it was like a very popular sword in T1 because you could prevent people from being able to cap a point. This is another one that does a little sucky suck thing that pulls people in together and creates a giant clump, kind of like Gravwell. So it's like everything is like very, very different, and I'm just looking down like a few of the sword options. So I was talking about the blue ring that was still meta for a bit. There are some blue weapons that are actually still meta. There is a dagger that is blue, called Shadewalker daggers, and this is still meta in T2. And the reason why is its bonus is Shadow Strike range 50%. So what happens, and why this dagger is still meta, is there's a giant siege in this castle thing over here. Shield Strike is bugged with one mastery, it just lets you spam it. Yep, so that's like one reason why Nirma is pretty good. And it's very fun to play with. I sometimes use Shield Strike, but it's not super common right now. But that dagger passive, the reason why it's so good is like in these sieges, there's a golem that you can get into, which is basically just a giant, well, I mean, it's a giant golem that can jump. And that jumping golem can go from like here to like up here to like around backside and climb like up on top of these giant walls. And because it's jumping all over the place, it's kind of hard to like follow it and keep track of it. And the issue is if you don't keep track of that guy can get out and then he can summon their entire guild. It's kind of an exploit, kind of a bug. Either way, it's been basically treated as a game mechanic at this point because everyone's been playing around it for like a few months. But the one thing that like hard counters that is dagger has an ability that lets you teleport to somebody, and that extends the range in which you could teleport. So with those daggers, you could effectively follow that golem all the way up. So last siege that we had, there was basically an Attack on Titan battle with 20 people chasing this giant golem up the castle walls to deny the ability for the guy to summon. And it's all possible because of that one blue dagger. So there's still stuff that's meta that like is like wouldn't naturally be meta because the ability is so strong. So that's like an example of a T1 piece that's still meta. Another one would be that cape that I was talking about, and that's arguably good enough to be meta still. Let's see, what am I getting pinged for? This other thing. But I don't know, that's like a brief snapshot in terms of like kind of why this game is really good. In terms of like optimization and like all the different like unique effects, it's just like the fundamental of the game, I would argue, is not quite as good as New World's. Is there a little dog on the ground? Dog. Yep. Tiny dog. And it's labeled dog. Why would you label it dog? It obviously looks like a dog. I don't know. I think I'm probably going to call it there, though, because I have some other stuff I need to do. But I'll try to clip what we talked about today and get a few different, like, YouTube VODs. New World looking diffy. Yeah, look, it's getting there. I don't think it's still there, but it will be there probably within a season or two. Are we gonna play Elden Ring Night Ring? Probably not. I'd probably play one of those other games before I played that one, to be honest. I still have some daily stuff to do here. Oh well. Alright, well, night everybody, and we could talk to you in the Discord, or maybe we could do more of this stuff. We'll see.